news?
I have a little news flash.
Let's check the headlines.
No, it's real news for once.
The biggest stories of the local, regional, and national news.
This is huge news.
It's time for Michigan Sports Talk Morning Show, broadcasting live all across the state of Michigan and Northwest Ohio. This is X's and Bros.
Swings it out to Sadiq Bey. Gets Benny in the car.
To Abdul-Rahman at midcourt. Extra pass. And it goes for the win. The three-pointer by Jordan Poole. Here's the give. Walker. Kenneth Walker. Touchdown. Spike.
Goff's got it. Back. Looks. Throws. Ends up.
Yes.
Caught. Touchdown to Detroit Lions. They did it. Amon-Ra St. Brown in the receiving end.
Sends one to deep left center field. Back it goes, and that ball's out of here. A grand slam from Miguel Cabrera. He's got 2 goals. Larkin in on goal. Scores! His first career hat trick in his 7th season for Dylan Larkin.
Here's your host, Anthony Bellino.
Rise and shine, folks. Good Wednesday morning to you. It's Hump Day. It's also the first of the month. That's right. Good morning, everybody. November 1st, 2023. We welcome you here to X's and Bros on the Michigan Sports and Network. Ben Glaze, Ryan Elke, Anthony Bellino, all joining you. Thank you for joining us. No matter who you are, where you are, how you may be listening, all across the great state of Michigan and in Northwest Ohio and worldwide on the iHeartRadio app. We say good morning to you. We welcome you. We thank you. We appreciate you. And, of course, we encourage you from Traverse City down to the Glass City, GR to the Motor City. Text us. Use the keyword sports radio. Send that to 21,000. Sports radio to 21000. Meyer Supercenter guest line 866-838-4843. That's 866-838-4843. We're on Twitter at XB Mornings, Facebook, X's and Bros. And, of course, good morning to our television audience as well on both BCSN and streaming live on our YouTube page at Michigan Sports Network. Add.com to that to find our website. xbmornings@gmail.com is our fan feedback email inbox. And you can find us all individually on Twitter. Ben Glaze is at the Ben Glaze. Ryan Elke is at Ryan L_Key. And I'm Anthony Bellino at AC Bellino. Gentlemen, good morning to both of you. Happy hump day. How are we over there?
Good morning. Doing well. Didn't have any trick-or-treaters last night, thank goodness.
No trick-or-treaters for you?
Well, I guess, yeah. Did you?
Oh, yeah. They were
really?
They were lined up.
We're kind of off the beaten path, so we don't get any.
That makes sense. My street doesn't have a lot of street lights. There's really not a lot of lighting anywhere. But our trick-or-treaters are out in full force, and they know. They know that, this Halloween brought to you by Danny's Fine Foods. It's not going to be stingy around these parts. These kids are getting loaded up. Nice. Sugar them out. Let's go. What do you need? Maybe if you don't consume sugar, here's a toothbrush. You can have one of those. But no, it was a fun night. Cold night, dude. You guys on the west side of the state, you guys get any snow?
Yeah, we still got it this morning.
Yeah, we got some snow over here. If you caught any of the midweek MACtion on Halloween, how about the friend of the show and athletic director Brian Blair at the University of Toledo? Right off the top, let's give him one of these. This guy is out on the field shoveling snow prior to the game. I mean, if that's not look, when you work in minor league sports, you might be a ticket sales rep, or you might be a game day presentation. You could be anything. And let's say you work in minor league baseball, and if you're a West Michigan Whitecaps, you've seen this. To our friends, at 100.9 WLUN, anybody that's worked for the Loons, they know this. If you were in Toledo working with the Mud Hens, you know this. The Lansing Lugnuts, you know this. When the tarp comes out, it's all hands on deck. Anybody who's available, you are going to go out there and you are going to help pull that tarp out of the field, because that's just what needs to be done, right? There's not this elaborate grounds crew that's out there, fixing everything. And they all have grounds crews. It's not to take away from them, but usually, they need some bodies and some assistance. And so that's what's, you got to answer the bell. And to see Brian Blair out there on the field last night shoveling the snow pregame as the blizzard was coming in, I mean, it was pretty impressive. Pretty impressive. That's my kind of guy right there. If not me, then who? If not now, then when? Right? Don't just do what the job title says. Do what needs to be done. That's all I ask. And if you work like me in a blue-collar job, that's what we need. We need people just to do their job. Go above and beyond and get something done, would you, for the love of God? Too many times people just sit back and oh, well, punch the clock, see you tomorrow. That's not really helping us. That's not really doing a whole lot. Like, we need you to check in, and while you're there, do whatever needs to be done. It doesn't matter if it's dishes, if it's sweeping, whatever the case may be. And that just comes from my day-to-day real-world experience. I did get a really nice message from a Michigan fan who knew, he had been listening to the show and had been, hearing some of the commentary. Because we're going to talk about the college football playoff rankings that are out today. John Wagner is going to join us on the college football scene. We'll get an NFL-wide trade deadline update. We'll discuss the Donovan Peoples-Jones move to the Detroit Lions. Do I think that the Lions missed out on Chase Young for what the 49ers traded for? We'll get to all that. Nick Baumgardner will join us on the Lions coming up in hour number 3. But, to be honest with you, I almost feel like I'm kind of pinched in a lose-lose situation. Because if I'm not, just blindly, vehemently defending Michigan, then I am, I'm Benedict Arnold and burn me at the stake. But at the same time, if I'm not honest about it, if I'm not fair about it, then all the listeners are like, you're a homer, slappy guy. So really, we need to find some middle ground here. Maybe we'll find that, because I have no problem whatsoever with Ohio State being number 1. So many people were upset over that. the best team in college football. Just last night, dude, it's one ranking. We're going into week 9. We got a month of the season. And if you're a Michigan fan, like I am, we haven't even played anybody yet. We've gone through 8 weeks of preseason football, just smacking these clowns. There's no competition out there. What do you think is going to happen on Saturday night against Purdue? Speaking of, if you would like the opportunity to win tickets to go see the Michigan-Purdue game, the post is up on Twitter. All you have to do is retweet it, and that'll enter you to win. And I'm going to give away my tickets to the Purdue and Michigan game. So there you have it, 7:30 under the lights, the second night game of the season. You get to see the fancy new lights for the first time if you missed the first game against Bowling Green. And we'll be excited to go. So if you would like to go to that game, just find the tweet on my Twitter page at AC Bellino. You can retweet it. That'll enter you to win, and we'll go from there. And everybody can be happy, and everybody can move forward with this. We can all be in good shape and in good position to watch the Michigan Wolverines smack the dog snot out of the Purdue Boilermakers on Saturday night. That's what we can look forward to. And hopefully a very convincing, relatively easy dub in pretty good fashion. Very surprised, if you watched any of the NBA last night, the fact that the Spurs were able to come back. It looked like the Suns in the opening 4 minutes were going to wash San Antonio right off the floor. The Suns actually lost. They were, no Devin Booker in the game, so what's it really matter? That's part of it. We had James Harden traded in the middle of the night. And look, for the Philadelphia 76ers and for James Harden, for anybody that talks, and I saw our friend Josh Eberly, friend of the show, tweet about this, when it came down to player empowerment, right, in the NBA, and what a great thing it is. And he listed all the guys that have been dealt because of James Harden. And when you look at that list, tell me about player empowerment. And I thought that's a pretty solid tweet there. Also, I stand corrected on what took place internationally. I don't know if I talked about this yesterday or not on the show, but the hit that killed a hockey player because of a kick to the neck that cut his throat. That is, I thought he was hit and spun, and with the amount of blood, I didn't really feel like rewatching it. I should have, but I didn't do my due diligence there. He was not hit and spun. It was not a back kick. He was literally skating where he was going to run into the player, lifted his left leg, and kicked the man in the throat. So whatever the most heinous, brutal punishment that they can offer across the pond is exactly what that man should be given. I don't know if they're still burning people at the stake. I don't know if they're doing any sort of guillotine action in the public. I haven't been to England. I'm not sure what they're doing over there. But whatever it is, that guy, minimum life sentence, minimum, after watching it again. So if I misspoke yesterday about that, I wanted to clear that up. All right, we're going to step aside when we return. Trade deadline, what happened in the NFL yesterday? Let's talk about it next year. X's and Bros, Michigan Sports Network.
Huge here for the Michigan High School Athletic Association. You can stay up to date on the latest from Lansing 24/7 at MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. The latest news, press releases, and stories connected to every high school in the state of Michigan, available for you 24/7 from the Michigan High School Athletic Association. Log on to MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. And if you're looking for archive boys and girls high school sports, MHSAA.TV. That's MHSAA.TV. 24/7, everything you need to know about high school sports in Michigan. Log on to MHSAA.com.
Imagine this, a day filled with indulgence, bursting with excitement, and packed with extraordinary moments that build memories to last a lifetime. A day that is unmistakably yours, at the place that is undeniably spectacular. Whether you're winning big, dining lavishly, or relaxing oh so comfortably, it's your getaway reimagined at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort.
The Freddie the Pizza Man Foundation is dedicated to providing support to families and Michigan schools touched by autism. We invite you to join us in supporting these families and schools by making a donation at freddythepizzaman.com. With your donation, you can help provide essential resources that can make a real impact. Visit freddythepizzaman.com to make a donation and to learn more about the foundation's mission. That's FREDI thepizzaman.com. Together, we can make a difference.
From Traverse City to the Glass City, GR to the Motor City, you're listening to X's and Bros on the Michigan Sports Network.
Welcome back here to X's and Bros, Michigan Sports Network. We are officially running out of time with a little snow flurry down there at Tullymore Golf Resort. But Tullymore just isn't golf, folks. It's got all the space you need to be able to host your group outing, your work event, your conference, whatever the case may be. You can stay right there on the grounds. I can't think of a better place to retreat to than the beautiful Tullymore Golf Resort in Canadian Lakes, Michigan, offering not one but two championship courses, Tullymore and St. Ives, only an hour north of Grand Rapids, 30 minutes west of Mount Pleasant. Great time for you to start thinking about 2024 as well. Maybe booking your guys' trip or whatever the case may be. If you make a annual pilgrimage around the state, put Tullymore on your list. TullymoreGolf.com, TullymoreGolf.com, or call 1-800-972-4837. That's 1-800-972-4837. Book your stay and play at Tullymore today. All right, let's hop into what took place yesterday at the NFL's trade deadline. This is going to be the general overview. Then we'll get more specific with the Detroit Lions a little bit later on, coming up in hour number 2. But the deals that happened yesterday, and by the way, because we didn't get to the headlines this morning, in the middle of the night, Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler were both fired by the Las Vegas Raiders. They are out. It kind of felt like this was coming. I actually mentioned this to the group chat about a week ago that, you know, when you have an all-pro caliber running back like Josh Jacobs and you have Devontae Adams and you guys can't figure out how to score points, that's a you problem. And after the 26-14 loss on Monday Night Football, Raiders fall to 3-5, and they have moved on from both their head coach and their GM. Wow. Very, very bad. Very bad. And good luck to the L.A. Raiders of Las Vegas, formerly of Oakland. They're going to need it. All right, back to the deadline. Now, Buffalo has added a defensive back. The Bills got cornerback Rasul Douglas and a 2024 fifth-round pick. The Packers got a 2024 third-rounder in exchange. Donovan Peoples-Jones returns home to the Motor City. The Detroit native and Michigan stud is coming to the Detroit Lions. So that's interesting. And the Browns get a 2025 sixth-rounder. So not even next year. The big one that had everybody up in arms was that Chase Young went to the San Francisco 49ers. The Commanders got a third-round pick in exchange. Now, the former Defensive Rookie of the Year is having a great campaign so far. He's got 5 sacks in 7 games. He's definitely going to benefit from, you know, the way that San Francisco's scheme is set up, the way that they play defense. San Francisco's a little bit on the fritz, though, with their offense. Brock Purdy started to turn over the football, and it's just bad news Bears right now. They've lost, 3 in a row? Chase Young will go to this group that now has Cleveland Farrell, Drake Johnson. Like, it's a good group. It's a very good group. And I think that if you're looking at this for what this is worth for San Francisco, they are going to have serious cap issues coming up. Now, they're not worried about it. They're going for it right now, which I totally understand, and we can argue about that with the Lions. But just like this is a guy that's going to need to get paid, especially if he can continue to have the year that he's having this year. And I assume that his numbers and production will go up as he joins that defense. And if so, his individual production is going to give him a very high price tag. Plus, he gets to compete for actually playing for something this year and not just being stuck in Washington. The Jaguars beefed up their offensive line. They made a trade with the Vikings, so this is good. Ezra Cleveland heads to the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Vikings got a 2024 sixth-rounder. Speaking of the Vikings, they got a new quarterback. They traded for Josh Dobbs. They sent a sixth-round pick to the Arizona Cardinals. And they get Dobbs in a seventh-rounder in the upcoming draft. So that was kind of interesting. The Bears made a move for defensive end Montez Sweat. The Washington Commanders get a 2024 second-round pick. This one's interesting. He is also in the midst of a career year, 6.5 sacks, 32 tackles, 10 TFLs through 8 games this season, and an expiring deal. So I don't really know what the Bears, are they immediately going to Get him on the roster for a team that is struggling, trying to make a move. I mean, there's another one that you could have looked at with the Lions and said, okay, well, all right, I don't love giving up a second-round pick, but you're talking about a proven commodity versus the potential of a prospect. But then you're weighing in, of course, your team control over said player with the contract. The Atlanta Falcons get Kentavious Street and a 2025 seventh-round pick from the Philadelphia Eagles, who in exchange got a 2024 sixth-round pick. The Seattle Seahawks acquire former Pro Bowl defensive lineman. They'll get defensive lineman Leonard Williams. The Giants get a 2024 second-rounder and a 2025 fifth-rounder. That's a pretty good deal there. The Eagles added Kevin Byard. The Titans will get Terrell Edmonds, a 2024 fifth-round pick, and a 2024 sixth-round pick. So they get the fifth, the sixth, and Edmonds in exchange. That's a good move. I like that for Philadelphia. The Chiefs got Mecole Hardman and a 2025 seventh-round pick. The Jets got a 2025 sixth-round pick. Obviously, that didn't happen yesterday, but it is worth. It is definitely worth discussing. And then another deal from a couple weeks ago where the Falcons got Van Jefferson and a 2025 seventh-rounder. The Rams in exchange got a 2025 sixth-round pick. The biggest debate I saw yesterday online, and it's online, it's the internet. Everybody's got an opinion. Everybody's entitled to that. I don't think that the Lions going after, the Chase Young deal kind of makes you, it is a little bothersome. I believe my term was vomit is what I decided to go with on Twitter, just because of the little that it took to get him. That's what is that's the thing that gets me. Now, he's not an unrestricted free agent until 2024. That's when he's a UFA. He was slated to make, $17 million. The following year, he signed a 4-year, $34 million contract with the Washington Commanders. They were then the Redskins at the point. In 2023, he'll get a base salary of $5.3, carries a cap hit of $3 million. And, he's got, there's a little bit of wiggle room. I'm looking at Spotrac right now for the contract details of this. Look, this is where folks really want to get up in arms, bent out of shape. It's because, okay, you didn't add him. You look at a guy like, Montez Sweat. You didn't add him. People really wanted an edge rusher on the opposite side of Aiden Hutchinson. Montez Sweat, who is making $11.5 million in base salary and is, an unrestricted free agent in 2024, going to the Bears. A second rounder at 27 years old, a little bit older on that scale. And so I don't believe that by the Lions not adding a defensive player, specifically an edge rusher, that totally takes them out of playoff contention. I saw some things yesterday where it's like, this team isn't ready to compete for a Super Bowl. Like, this is the first time that the Detroit Lions have been good in how long? Legitimately good. Roughly a decade, okay? And even longer than that for a playoff victory, which you're all very much well aware of. This does not mean that the Lions, in any stretch of the imagination, are punting on the season or don't think that they can't win. I believe that they think that they can win with the group that they have. And they added a piece in Donovan Peoples-Jones, who's coming home, looking to have a career resurgence. It hasn't gone all that well in Cleveland. Like, this is it. Backs against the line. He knows it. Everybody knows it. RIP to the Jameson Williams targets. But they had to find an option. They needed another receiver. They were down Marvin Jones Jr. For whatever it's worth. You still needed another receiver. So I was okay with that move. And he's not going to cost you much. And even if he has a breakout final 9 games of the regular season and into the playoffs, let's say Donovan Peoples-Jones just goes crazy, you're still more than likely going to be able to get him at a relatively discounted price. Plus the fact that he is at home now, I think that bodes well for the Lions. But what they did yesterday by no means is punting on this season. We'll step aside. John Wagner joins us next. X's and Bros, Michigan Sports Network.
Bill Simonson here for my good friend Josh Garvey. Now, he is a managing shareholder at Baumgardner, soon to be Doran Mayhew at the end of the year. And with the merger, there is growth and a chance for you to fill an executive or other high-level finance-related roles, either at Baumgardner here in downtown Grand Rapids or over at the Dorn Mayhew World Headquarters in Troy, or at any of their offices across the country and around the world. They have a national specialized talent pool with ideal candidates for long-term placement, ongoing support for post-placement success. So if you're looking for that next chapter in your professional career, talk to Josh Garvey and the team at Baumgardner. Easiest way, you can call Baumgardner, ask for Josh Garvey, or go to their website, BENEGARTR.com, or look for Baumgardner, soon to be Dorn Mayhew, on Facebook and on Twitter.
Save big on fuel with M-Perks. Earn points on your Meijer purchases in-store and online. Then use your points to claim a fuel reward and save up to $1 off per gallon of gas at Meijer. Claim your M-Perks fuel rewards in the Meijer app and ID at the pump to save. Plus, earn points for qualifying Meijer Express purchases and look for exclusive Meijer Express offers. Download the Meijer app to sign up or see Meijer.com to learn more. 10 cents to $1 off per gallon based on points earned. Exclusions apply. Not valid in Wisconsin. Max 30 gallons.
Huge here for Van Andel Institute Purple Community. Now, they're a grassroots fundraising network powered by the volunteers who support VAI's mission to improve health now and in the future. Learn more at purplecommunity.org. Coming up later today at 3, huge opinions on everything I want to talk about. It's the Huge Show at 3 on the Michigan Sports Network.
This is X's and Bros on the Michigan Sports Network.
Welcome back here to X's and Bros, Michigan Sports Network. Ben Glaze, Ryan Elke, Anthony Bellino, all joining you. Join us now as he does on Wednesday mornings to discuss the college football and the Super 16 rankings. A member of the Football Writers Association of America and National Football Foundation, our good buddy, John Wagner. Find him on Twitter at John Wagner Media, the longtime scribe. My friend, good morning to you. How are you? How's life? How are things, partner?
Anthony, I am a little slice of heaven, but that's not really the question. How are you this morning? I heard Tuesday was a little bit of an uphill climb.
Uphill climb. Come on, I'm on the juice. You know, I got to meet somebody who I really admire, and I played a ton of his audio going into Monday night. His name is John Sutcliffe, and he works for ESPN Deportes. And John brings such a passion and an energy. He was actually in a Halloween costume on the sidelines. And he's the guy that goes, Monday Night Football on ESPN. And it made my whole day because you know what? At the end of the day, we're here. We're alive. We're getting paid to do something that we love. We're having a good time doing it. I got to see Scott Van Pelt, Stanford Steve, Ryan Clark. Everybody was just in such good spirits. And I thought to myself, you know what? You know what brings me really good spirits on Wednesday? John Wagner brings me good spirits. And that's what we're here to do.
Geez.
We're not building nuclear submarines or curing cancer. We're talking about sports and having a damn good time doing it. And the amount of feedback that I get about you and I, the odd couple, I love it. I think it's fantastic. I think it's great. It's hard. I appreciate you coming on the show to make me feel right all the time with all of my scorching hot takes. So thank you, John. It means the world to me.
If there is a first-time listener for any reason on today's show, we should have some kind of a sarcasm alert. There would have been 4 screaming alarms saying, whoop, whoop, whoop. Oh, my goodness. You are too funny, Anthony.
What did you make of this past week? I mean, we had some chalk early on. Michigan, obviously, on the bye with all of the controversy. And I dodged it last week. You told me to, so I did it. What do you make of does this hurt? Does this hurt Michigan at all?
It, but made sure that I was unable to dodge that particular buzz.
Well,
nicely played.
Yeah,
Anthony.
well, you know, you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball or something like that. Does this hurt Michigan's case in any way, shape, or form, in your opinion, with the sign stealing shenanigans that has allegedly taken place there at U of M? Does it cloud them in your opinion, or do you still have them firmly at number 2?
Well, a couple of things here. If you're asking me where did I vote them, yes, I still have them at number 2. Now, the words that you began with, though, was, does this cloud the issue and does it affect them? It clouds the issue. It does affect them. People are wondering, are they good, or is it because they know what the other team's particular play is going to run or what their scheme is, and no amount of masking will hide what they're actually going to do because we've stolen their signs? Let me ask it to you this way, Anthony, and I ask this like a lawyer. I know the answer. The Houston Astros scored more runs than their opponents in the 2017 World Series. Does that cloud their achievement as World Series champions?
I think when we look back at the Astros, I think that everybody kind of puts an asterisk on that season, but then they went ahead and did it again. So then it was kind of like, well, you know, I guess they are pretty good at baseball, whether or not they got electronic buzzers or not.
Right. And that would be my point to you. Is Michigan good at football?
Yes.
Yeah. Are they the best team in the country?
Yes.
Well, let's put an asterisk on that. Let's put an asterisk on that. And you can hate it all you want. Michigan fans can hate it all they want. The team, the coaches, everybody. Argue it until you're blue in the face. Tough bananas. That's the way it's going to roll. That's the way it is. You're going to have to deal with it.
Wow. I didn't expect to hear Tupac Shakur come out of your mouth, but that's just the way it is. All right. So
No. That's just the way it is Bruce Hornsby in the range. Look it up, friend.
Hey.
Look it up.
You look it up, partner. How about that? All right. So then we get.
I'd be happy to. I'd love to. In fact, I'm betting your listeners would prefer 10 minutes of Bruce Hornsby crooning, that's just the way it is. Some things will never change.
Well,
if I had more of a voice this morning, I'd try it. I don't. You're welcome.
All right. Well, that's a positive because, look, I don't doubt your singing skills, but it does concern me a little bit. Anyways, so what do we do with Ohio State?
That's just the way it is.
Oh, boy.
Some things will never change.
Oh, boy.
That's just the way it is.
Oh, man.
Then I have to go to a falsetto. I can't do that. So that's just the way it is.
This program is brought to you by Halls. So then we have Ohio State. Michigan will play Purdue. It'll be under the lights tonight or not tonight, but Saturday night at 7:30. You can go to my Twitter page right now. I'm giving away my pair of tickets. That's right. You get the seat in the Bellino bunker at the Big House. All you have to do is retweet to enter to win. Keep the DMs open so I can slide on in there. It's where I do my best work. All right, so then we have number 3, Ohio State, traveling to Wisconsin. Night game, former coach, kind of a lot of drama surrounding that off the field when you think about, okay, this is the former Ohio State coach, but Ohio State just really taking care of business. McCord threw a couple of interceptions that I really feel like Ohio State just is so uncertain at quarterback. Marvin Harrison Jr. is arguably one of the best players in the entire college football game, should be there for the selection show for the Heisman. We learned later yesterday in the afternoon that it will be Mayan Williams is going to miss the rest of the season undergoing surgery, according to Ryan Day. So that, that will hurt the backfield a little bit there for the Buckeyes, but they really handled business. Not really a whole lot that we could say or that we've learned at all out of any team that's played anybody from the Big Ten West.
I like the way Ohio State got a subpar game from their quarterback and still won, not convincingly by any stretch, and probably not even handily, but a very solid win. I mean, there's nobody feels that Wisconsin got cheated or, man, it was a one-score game late. But no, they were comfortable pretty much the whole way through. When those two teams meet, Ohio State and Michigan, that's going to be a great game. I really look forward to it. I hesitate to say, because the moment you make a prediction, it's sure to be wrong. I'm looking for an actual low-scoring game out of these two teams because their defenses are so strong, so stout, and so consistent from week to week. That's what I think I like of all the things they do well, both Ohio State and Michigan. They're so consistent. They perform at such a high level so consistently. And if there's nothing we've learned this year, it's that a lot of teams are very, very inconsistent. And in fact, Anthony, I want to turn the tables for a second.
Okay.
Are you still doing your Bellino sure to be 100% accurate top 25, or have you stopped that with the Lions mayhem?
I didn't make it past week 4. There's just there's not enough hours in the day. I was trying my hardest. I was trying to be committed to it. I still, in my brain, I have it. I just haven't been able to put an article together and write recaps for every team because it's the time consumption there. It was eating me alive. And I got to talk to John Wagner. I don't have time to be typing about it. So I was like, hell, I still have Ohio State at number 3 in the country, but I do have Florida State very much on their heels. And I'll say that and I'll bring up this statistic that I saw earlier this week. Out of all Power 5 teams, in the top 10 worst scoring offenses in all of Power 5 football, 8 of those top 10 worst offenses, we're talking like 18 points a game, reside in the Big Ten. And that makes me raise my eyebrow. I knew that Penn State was a fraud. I tried to tell everybody. They didn't believe me. Michigan, I still have my question marks about my own team. I know. Go ahead and tweet my boss and try to get me fired again this week, just like you folks did last week. That's fine. Ohio State, I still want to know what would have happened had Notre Dame not given up that huge chunk play that Kyle McCord threw that football, and the guy, I forget who it was, Buka or Harrison, whoever the hell it was, caught the ball at the 1-yard line, and then Notre Dame walked out there with 3 guys to try to defend the goal line. I still would like to know what would have happened had everybody had their heads screwed on straight, because I just don't know if in Big Ten conference play we can legitimately trust what we're seeing from some of the dominant programs, because the competition just it seems like it's just so porous.
Well, you're probably not wrong in that, but I do think that these teams, and I still think there are 3 Big Ten teams that are at another level, and that's Michigan, Ohio State, and the fraud that you call Penn State. I hear you. I disagree with you. I think they're going to get better still. I was surprised at the way Ohio State handled them, especially Penn State's defense. Their offense has been inconsistent and not prone to creating enough big plays and things like that. Their defense is really good too. They have an exceptional defense, and Ohio State did enough, even missing some key elements, to beat them. I'm still mildly surprised by that. But I got to tell you, Anthony, the reason I brought up "Are you still doing the poll?" is we've just reached what I call the muddy season, and it has nothing to do with the weather. It has everything to do with, well, how do you rank this team in front of that team? And what about this team and that team? And it's all those daisy chains of wins and losses. And Notre Dame just got done crushing Pitt,
Blew them
just
out.
got done a couple weeks ago, handled Louisville, which like a week earlier had handled Notre Dame. Now, the wild card in there is Louisville's star running back was out for the Pitt game, and that obviously made a difference. But how do you rank those three teams? I mean, well, you don't rank Pitt because they're terrible, but where do you rank Notre Dame vis-a-vis Louisville? And there are others that are really difficult. I mean, Oklahoma just got done getting beat by Kansas. And I get it was a close game that involved a late score, but Kansas more than deserved to be on the field with Oklahoma. They were the better team for large chunks of that game. There was a weather delay that really helped Oklahoma climb back into that game. The reason I bring it up is, well, Oklahoma lost, so they dropped, but how far? And do you drop Texas along with them? And if you drop Texas, well, then do you drop Alabama with them? And now it's becoming difficult. We have a body of work, and it's a little more difficult to figure out who are those teams that deserve to be in the Final Four. Who are the teams that deserve to be in the top 10? And frankly, honestly, who, if you're doing a Super 16 poll like I do and a bunch of other people do every week, how do you pick those 16?
Yeah. I mean, the transitive property doesn't exist in sports, right? If Team A beats Team B and Team B beats Team C, then Team C should be able to beat Team A or whatever. Like it's not even exactly who the best team is on paper. It's who plays the best on that individual day. And that's where I'll give teams like Ohio State and Michigan some grace and some credit here, even though the competition hasn't, I mean, at least Ohio State's played Notre Dame. I mean, that looks good. But as far as Michigan, I mean, at least they show up every week and do exactly what they're supposed to do for the most part, which is absolutely ransack the other team. Like I look at Georgia and Florida and the world's largest outdoor cocktail party in Jacksonville. I love the fact that they do that, that it's that's one of the only neutral site games I get down with just because of the location for both schools to be able to get to and their fan bases and the way they split the stadium. Like I love that. But I find it very difficult, you know, if you're not going out there like Florida State and Wake Forest. Like Florida State put together a whale of a performance where when it's 34-7 at halftime, that game is over. Seminole chop, like let's just get to the end of the game. You know, Travis has an incredible performance, 360 and 3 scores through the air. Like Florida State's offense looks like he's a little bit healthier now, that they are starting to pick up. Washington, you know, Stanford gave Washington a little bit. I mean, they put some points on them. They did put some points on them, and that's the one thing with any Pac-12 team. It's like, dude, if you're not scoring punches and bunches, I mean, USC needed 50 to win by 1 point over Cal. That conference just cannot defend.
Well, or you can look at it and say that conference can score points too. You know that. I mean, heck, Washington, since its big win over Oregon, has laid a couple of eggs. I mean, they thoroughly deserve to get beat by Arizona the week after that, and you know they were not very good against Arizona State either. I mean, they only scored 15 points, and then. You know, Stanford ain't a great team by any stretch of the imagination. They found a way to outscore them. But, I mean, scoring 15 points against Arizona State, come on. I mean, there's got to be some urine samples involved there. That's not good. And if I remember that game correctly, Washington's touchdown came on defense, not offense. So, and in fact, that leads me to the idea of sometimes these polls, and let me back up and say this in a clearer way. I think it will make more sense. The polls now are more accurate than they were when we started the year. There were bunches of teams we did not know anything about, some that deserved to be ranked higher, some that deserved to be ranked lower. We've now kind of separated the wheat from the chaff to get, hey, who are the elite teams and who are the teams that are poll worthy and who are the bums that we got to rush out of here. So it's gotten better. It has gotten trickier in terms of trying to figure out those daisy chains of how do you rank this team compared to that team compared to this team. But the one thing we always have to remember about polls, and it's just a fact of life with polls. I don't understand why people get all fired up with the idea of, do I think these are the teams that I ranked? Do I think that that's the best team at number one, Georgia? They're really, really good. They won last year. Could they win it all? Sure. Are they the best team based on what they've done over the course of the year? I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. In fact, I probably wouldn't have them number one. I have Florida State fourth. They're undefeated. They're really good. They are way better now than they were in September. Are they the fourth best team in the country? I mean, they're good. They're good. And here's the other end of this. The team I have sixth is Oregon. They've got a loss. I think they could beat anybody in the country. If you put Oregon in the Final Four and told me, hey, that's the team that's going to win, I'd salute you. I would not argue that one bit.
And that's just the way it is. Tupac Shakur. He's John Wagner. Are you serious, baby? Find him on Twitter at John Wagner Media. Johan, my good friend, as always, thank you so much for your time, partner. Have a great rest of your week, my friend.
You've got Bruce Hornsby. God bless you, Anthony. I hope you and your listeners have a great week.
Sports betting partner of the NBA, celebrating with unbeatable offers. New customers can score $200 in bonus bets instantly for throwing just $5 on the NBA. Win or lose, it doesn't matter. The season is better when you get to start it with an instant dub. My only thing is, be careful with the Clippers, folks. No, this James Harden thing is not going to work. How many basketballs are they going to roll out there? You got James Harden. You got Kawhi Leonard, the Claw, right? You got Paul George. Then you got Russell Westbrook. How is that going to work out? Either way, basketball is more fun when you're in on the action. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Use the promo code HUGE. Promo code HUGE. Bet $5. Cash in with $200 instantly in bonus bets. Now, if you or somebody you know has a gambling problem, wants help, needs help, call the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services Gambling Disorder Helpline, 800-270-7117. 21 plus Michigan only. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Eligibility and deposit restrictions to apply. See terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/basketball. Terms. Hour 2 next.
It's a happy Thanksgiving when you get everything you need in one stop at Meijer. Save big on fresh and frozen turkeys. And for all your favorite sides, Meijer's got you covered. Like fresh green beans, delicious pumpkin pies from our bakery, and your perfect pairing in our wine aisle. Get everything for easy prep, too. From crock pots to serveware and food storage. Find a great selection and all the same great deals whether you shop Meijer in-store or online. Make it a happy Thanksgiving in one easy stop at Meijer.
Ladies, let's go see some men. The show, Friday, November 17th at Soaring Eagle Casino. Come meet the men of your wicked dreams for an affordable night of laughs and maybe some mischief. Oh my. The boys are back in town. Tickets for 18 plus, just $25. On sale now at the box office and etix.com. Sexy costumes, hot dance moves. Your sensational night of fun returns. Hunks, the show, November 17th at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Oh my.
They say consistency is the key to success. They weren't wrong. So how about grabbing a beer that's consistently smooth, consistently refreshing, and consistently light? You might just find that the road to success can be pretty enjoyable. Michelob Ultra, the perfect balance of taste and refreshment, and only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Roast Umber is a farm-direct coffee sourced from Central American farmers and roasted in Grand Rapids. And also the Nitro Cold Brew Coffee is a convenient and healthy option for energy with no sugar additives. Look for it at your local retailer or at roastumber.com.
If you wait long enough, the pendulum swings in the other direction. All across Michigan, police academies are filling up. In fact, new sections are being added to accommodate the brave men and women making the decision to protect and serve. The Michigan Association of Chiefs of Police commends and welcomes these selfless, community-minded officers joining our ranks. We know we have more work to do, and with your help, the pendulum will swing in favor for all of Michigan.
Merc Perks from Mercantile Bank is here. Merc Perks checking has all you need to plan your busy lifestyle. Travel services for hotels, airfare, and cruises, cash back rewards, and even savings on prescriptions, eyewear, and dental work. Merc Perks also includes all the traditional benefits you love, like online and mobile banking, and fee-free access to almost 40,000 MoneyPass ATMs. So when you're ready for perks, Merc is here. Learn more at mymercperks.com, member FDIC.
Coming up later today at 3, huge opinions on everything I want to talk about. It's the Huge Show at 3 on the Michigan Sports Network.
Michigan Sports Talk Morning Show, broadcasting live all across the state of Michigan and Northwest Ohio. This is X's and Bros.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. It's a good morning. Wake up to a brand new day.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning, Vietnam!
Here's your host, Anthony Bellino.
Rise and shine, folks. Welcome back here on this hump day. It is Wednesday. It is the first of the month. It is November 1st, 2023. Great to have you right along with us, no matter who you are, where you are, how you may be listening, all across the great state of Michigan and in Northwest Ohio and worldwide on the iHeartRadio app. We say good morning to you. We welcome you. We thank you. We appreciate you. And, of course, we encourage you from Traverse City down to the Glass City, GR to the Motor City. Text the keyword sports radio. Send that to 21,000. Sports radio to 21000. Meyer Supercenter guest line 866-838-4843, 866-838-4843. We're on Twitter at XB Mornings, Facebook, X's and Bros. We're on television, Buckeye Cable Sports Network, known as BCSN, and streaming live on our YouTube page at Michigan Sports Network. Add a .com to that to find our website. Find us all individually on Twitter. Ryan Elke is at RyanL_Key. Ben Glaze is at The Ben Glaze, and I'm Anthony Bellino at AC Bellino. Fan feedback, email inbox, xbmornings@gmail.com. And if you miss any portion of the show, you can always find our podcast on Google, Apple, Spotify, and, of course, the iHeartRadio app. All right. This Connor Stallion Central Michigan thing is just wild. Does the man have a getup? Like, people are like, oh, he has hair, but he's bald. Can't be him. I'm like, well, look. I don't mean to be too much of a conspiracy theorist, but we've got some pretty good mask ideas. CMU not being able to identify the guy is kind of concerning. I can't imagine Michigan giving the go-ahead for a guy to go weasel his way onto another team's sidelines to scout an opponent. That seems a little rogue. But I know what happens if I say it seems rogue. Then I get, then I'm Homer Slappy guy. So make of it what you will. We'll find out when it's all said and done. More is always said than done. And whatever the punishment is or whatever comes of this case, I will be very interested to see, and it couldn't happen soon enough so we can move on with the rest of our lives. We will get on to the college football playoff rankings, the first installment of them coming up at 7:35. Donovan Peoples-Jones, welcome home, young fella. Wore the maize and blue, a Detroit native. Could we see a career resurgence from DPJ? We will see. And we'll talk to Nick Baumgardner coming up in hour number 3 as well. But first, let's get you all caught up with all the happenings. We'll do so right now in the headlines.
Big news. I have a little news flash.
Let's check the headlines.
No, it's real news for once.
The biggest stories of the local, regional, and national news.
This is huge news.
Phoenix Suns star Devin Booker, with his ankle injury, missed a third consecutive game. San Antonio Spurs rally back to beat them. Not a good look there for Phoenix. 115-114. Don't act like these games don't matter. All these games matter. The Kings say their guard, De'Aaron Fox, has a moderate sprain in his right ankle. Moderate. So it happened against the Golden State Warriors. King said in a statement his availability to return will be determined at a later date. However, there is optimism that he'll be back within the week. So adjust your fantasy rosters accordingly. The Bruins' Charlie McAvoy got a 4-game ban for an illegal hit to the head of the Florida Panthers defenseman Oliver Ekman-Larsson during Boston's overtime win on Monday night. McAvoy received a match penalty at 9 minutes, 24 seconds of the third period. Speaking of rough hits here and the incident that took place in Europe, the Penguins are now advocating for neck protection in a mandate for the AHL and ECHL teams while urging players at the NHL level to do the same. The decision to mandate neck protections for farm teams comes days after the death of the former Penguins forward Adam Johnson. He was playing for the Nottingham Panthers in England's Elite Ice Hockey League, the EIHL. His throat was cut by a skate blade during a collision. For whatever reason, this article that I'm reading is not giving the name of the individual he, quote-unquote, collided with. I can't believe that. I forget what his name is. Last name might be P. I don't know. I don't want to misspeak. But like it was bad. It was bad. If you've seen the video, it was bad. I did quote tweet one video that's pretty well cut into the edited to the point where you don't see the ice start to turn. So it's a little easier because the distance of the camera, it's a lot easier to stomach. If you want to see the video, you can find it on my Twitter page at AC Bellino. I've got $1 million idea. We have plenty of what is referred to as soft armor that is available. Soft armor would be like the opposite when you think of like body armor. Don't think of like actual plates. Think of like a soft material that you would wear in, strapped to your body like a normal vest, but not just not with plates, right? A material that can stop a bullet, like a Teflon almost. Here's my $1 million idea, and I'm going to share it with everybody. What if there was a way to make a compression turtleneck style shirt? Because majority of hockey players are going to wear something long sleeve under their pads. It's very random that a guy like Brendan Shanahan's running around out there with no shirt on underneath, right? Under his little Milek pads that he had. So, like, what if there was like a compression style turtleneck? It could be long sleeve. It could be, 3/4. It could be a short sleeve. But in the turtleneck is a soft shell sort of like Teflon material, like an armored material that could stop a skate blade, that could stop a cut, that is, think of like a Nike Pro Combat, cold gear type of turtleneck style that comes up high, like underneath the jawline, and then in the neck portion there to protect your larynx and everything else that's in there. I'm not a doctor, but this is where your Adam's apple's at. Basically, it would cover all the way around, be like almost like a 2-inch sort of adjustable soft armor sort of material. I think it's $1 million idea. It's not heavy. It would definitely be durable. It is woven into the fabric of the shirt, and I think the guys would wear it. I don't know why they're not wearing something like the clip-on thing is kind of uncomfortable. I had one of those as a kid. It's uncomfortable. It gets in the way. It itches. But this being like a turtleneck style, I think I might have solved the problem. I think I might have just made $1 million. I think I just shared that with all of you. Deion Sanders wants Colorado players reimbursed after they were robbed. They were robbed at UCLA. They wore all their chains into the locker room, and the locker room got broken into, and they stole all their jewelry. And now he wants them reimbursed. I rightfully so. I think that's a pretty legitimate claim there. Ohio State running back Mayan Williams has season-ending surgery. So not good. The specifics of the injury were not disclosed. Why they weren't disclosed, I have no idea. Let's grow up about the injury report. Let's grow up about the surgeries and whatnot. Don't give me this HIPAA nonsense. Get out of here. Iowa's coach Kirk Ferentz is moving forward after the school's in-season decision about his son's future. The offensive coordinator will not return in 2024. I mean, how could you? Like, you guys can barely score. You're one of the worst offenses in the country. Projected top pick in the 2025 NBA draft, Cooper Flagg has committed to play for Duke, next season. Jacob Wilkins, son of NBA great Dominique, has committed to Georgia. He seems kind of young, considering Dominique feels kind of old. The Raiders in the middle of the night have fired their head coach, Josh McDaniels, and their general manager. Both are gone now. They're going to try to figure it out on the fly. Best of luck to them. Because that's a rough situation there. That's a team that should be a lot better than what they are. James Harden arrived in Los Angeles. Steve Ballmer was there to meet and greet him. How many basketballs are they going to roll out? Speaking of James Harden, his former team, the Philadelphia 76ers, their former MVP, Joel Embiid, was fined $35,000 for making an obscene gesture. They were on the road against the Portland Trailblazers, and it is being described as making 4 WWE-style crude chops that sent the crowd into a frenzy. If you know anything about D-Generation X, I imagine it was that chop there. And then last night, we had Game 4 of the World Series. Yes, that is actually taking place right now. The Texas Rangers beat the Arizona Diamondbacks 11-7. Diamondbacks did a majority of their damage in the 8th and 9th innings, came up short, 5 runs scored in the second, 5 in the third, made that game just about out of reach, and the Rangers cruise to victory and can seal the deal with their next win to make it a 4-1 World Series victory. We're going to step aside when we return. Donovan Peoples-Jones to the Lions. Let's talk about it next year. X's and Bros, Michigan Sports Network.
Huge here for the Michigan High School Athletic Association. You can stay up to date on the latest from Lansing 24/7 at MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. The latest news, press releases, and stories connected to every high school in the state of Michigan, available for you 24/7 from the Michigan High School Athletic Association. Log on to MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. And if you're looking for archive boys and girls high school sports, MHSAA.TV. That's MHSAA.TV. 24/7, everything you need to know about high school sports in Michigan. Log on to MHSAA.com.
Imagine this, a day filled with indulgence, bursting with excitement, and packed with extraordinary moments that build memories to last a lifetime. A day that is unmistakably yours, at the place that is undeniably spectacular. Whether you're winning big, dining lavishly, or relaxing oh so comfortably, it's your getaway reimagined at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort.
In sports, if you think joy only happens after you win, think again. Look at the world's most successful athletes like Serena Williams, Brooks Koepka, and Alex Morgan. They don't spend all their days grinding away. They take time to enjoy themselves, like getting together with friends over a Michelob Ultra, because they know that happiness is the key to winning, and that joy is the whole game, not just the end game. Michelob Ultra. 95 calories, 2.6 grams of carbs. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. AB Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
This is X's and Bros on the Michigan Sports Network.
Well, we've finally got snow on the ground. Took till Halloween night. Hopefully everybody had a safe night trick-or-treating. Snow on the ground means the golf season is basically coming to a close, but you still have an opportunity to book a wonderful retreat to Tullamore Golf Resort in Canadian Lakes, Michigan, offering not one but two championship courses. And even if the courses are closed, maybe you're just looking for an area for maybe that has the perfect space and accommodation for your wedding, your event, your reception, your group outing. It's all right there at TullymoreGolf.com, TullymoreGolf.com, or call 1-800-972-4837. That's 1-800-972-4837. My friend Ashley Mills got married there over the summer. So whether you're looking for a workplace retreat, hey, it's only an hour north of Grand Rapids, 30 minutes west of Mount Pleasant. You just want to get away, visit TullymoreGolf.com today. All right, so everybody's been out of shape because the Lions made a trade, and they traded for Donovan Peoples-Jones. The former Michigan Wolverine will return home, the Detroit native, and play for your Detroit Lions. They get another weapon on the perimeter. And look, this is multifaceted. So first I want to get to what Uncle Lou had to say, Louis Riddick, about Donovan Peoples-Jones joining the Detroit Lions. And then I want to give you my full thought and opinion on this.
Yeah, it's interesting, especially considering the fact that there were maybe some people who thought, maybe they could use another weapon on the perimeter in Cleveland themselves as far as trying to get as much, that they could get on the offensive side of the football and really improve their explosive component. But, with Cleveland, look, obviously they have different intentions. Donovan Peoples-Jones is someone who really has been underutilized, and maybe he'll be utilized much better in Ben Johnson's offense up there with Jared Goff, who, quite honestly, last night, along with some of the young weapons that they have on this football team already, has got to be happy with the fact that now they get another piece to try and integrate into an offense that really is dynamic and really is going to help, I think, overall round out this football team as they make this push to the playoffs. But, yeah, look, I agree with Mike. The defensive line, a guy opposite Aiden Hutchinson, was something that I thought was a surefire lock that they would explore hard, and maybe they did. Maybe they did and just weren't able to agree on compensation. But, look, I like the Peoples-Jones move for Detroit. For Cleveland, we'll see what it means going forward.
Now, that is the one point of contention, right? When Chase Young goes to the San Francisco 49ers, everybody's wondering what in the hell, in questioning Brad Holmes over this, that, and the third, about why they didn't go and get a guy. And maybe the deal just wasn't there for them. Just because the 49ers made a deal for Chase Young doesn't mean the Washington Commanders, for whatever reason, would have been willing to part with it. Maybe a second or a third round pick wasn't going to be it for Brad Holmes. And I think it's important to remember that they have a plan here in place, not only for this season. And I know it's tough to stomach right now. I get it, Lions fans. I don't think that they all of a sudden, I heard somebody say on Twitter yesterday, they're now the fourth best team. The Niners got better. The Eagles got better. I'm sorry, but Jared Goff's playing better than Jalen Hurts. Brock Purdy, there's some damage done to the armor and the confidence there in San Francisco. Dallas is playing a little bit better, right? It doesn't matter necessarily what you have on paper. Right? It's not how good you are, it's how good you play. And with Marvin Jones Jr. stepping away to take care of personal family matters, this is a good opportunity to bring in a guy in Donovan Peoples-Jones who's only 24 years old. He's in his fourth season. He's coming back. He was a 6th-round pick in 2020. It's an upgrade to the receiving core. He's got 1,800-plus receiving yards, 8 touchdowns in his career. He also returned 61 punts for 480 yards and 1 touchdown. He can do it in the kickoff game as well. He's got only 8 catches for 97 yards in 7 games. They need to find something outside of Josh Reynolds, who's been good. The fumble was an anomaly. They need to find somebody outside of Khalif Raymond. I love Khalif. I think he's doing a great job this year. Amon-Ra St. Brown is captain consistency. There's a reason he catches 211 balls on the jugs machine or whatever he does every day, because you see the work. And Jameson Williams right now has more bust than boom in him. That's just the way it is. To quote Tupac for the second time today, that's the way that it is. Jameson Williams has shown us more potential than he has production. That's a problem. He had 2 grabs in the game against Las Vegas. He had the one that went through his arms. I think it's a little bit of a confidence issue. I think that anytime you think about catching it, that's a problem. And anybody who's gone outside and played catch before, either with your kids or your friends or whatever the case may be, you might have had the drops at one point because you start overthinking the catch. Right? I look at a guy like Marvin Harrison Jr. How many drops does he have this year? Right? He is just automatic. Like that ball is in the air. He's very much Amon-Ra St. Brown. That ball is in the air and in the vicinity. He's going to catch it. Sam Laporta had a drop. Sometimes you just overthink the actual play itself. And if your mind is you're overthinking the actual catch, or you take your eyes off that football to think what's coming up next, it's a good recipe for a drop. I think Jameson Williams just has a little bit of a confidence issue. I think that he hears and reads and sees what people are saying about him. I mean, how could you not at this point? I think that he's a guy that needs to have a quote-unquote sort of breakout game to, knock some of the rust off, needs to have a big touchdown. We know he can catch the football. He did it in Tampa Bay. We know that. But those are your 4. Raymond, Reynolds, J-Mo, and the Sun God. And your 5th was Antoine Green, a 7th-round pick. Like, we need somebody with some experience. This is a really good opportunity, I believe, for Donovan Peoples-Jones to come on in, show what he can do. Kind of a rental sort of idea here with DPJ, where he wasn't doing a lot in Cleveland, kind of forgotten about, kind of underutilized, and he's on a deal right now that he's going to be an unrestricted free agent for next year. He's 24 years old. This could be big time for him. If he goes out there and maximizes this opportunity with the Lions, whether the Lions offer him an extension, a new contract, or maybe there's a different opportunity out there for him somewhere else. But this is a good opportunity to get into a team that's got a lot going for him, that likes to move the football, that has a great offense right now, even though it struggled in the red zone this past week against Las Vegas. Like, I think life is good. Do I see some of these other deals and think like, okay, Lions could have had him? If the compensation wasn't right for Brad Holmes, we are not going to sacrifice our future for right now. And I'm okay with that. In the best way that I know how to describe to you to think about this is, let's say you saved $50,000. You have $50,000 saved, right? Are you going to go out and put a down payment on your $50,000 on a Porsche? Right now, $50,000. You've worked all this time to stash this 50. Are you going to go get a Porsche? Or maybe you take that 50 and you invest it some other places, right? To take care of your long-term future. Because you could see the forest from the trees. How many people are spending their paychecks on a day-to-day basis before their money's even in their pocket? Right? Because they need, hey, I got to have this right now. How many people are out there buying quote-unquote designer stuff, whatever it might be, because they want to have a brand label on whatever piece of clothing instead of saving that money to set yourself up, not worried about what you're wearing at the age of 28, worried about where you're living at the age of 58, right? Seeing the forest from the trees, seeing the long-term picture here. And if Brad Holmes isn't comfortable, like he is a bad man with a draft card in his hand, you're not going to hit on 100% of your picks. Nobody does. If you did, they would enshrine you in the Hall of Fame immediately. But his picks play well. They play really well. He's drafted some franchise guys. Like, I have full trust in Brad Holmes' capability to save these picks and to turn them into guys like Amon-Ra St. Brown. We'll step aside when we return. College football playoff rankings are out. Let's get to it next here. X's and Bros, Michigan Sports Network.
Bill Simonson here for my good friend Josh Garvey. Now, he is a managing shareholder at Baumgardner, soon to be Doran Mayhew at the end of the year. And with the merger, there is growth and a chance for you to fill an executive or other high-level finance-related roles. either at Baumgardner here in downtown Grand Rapids or over at the Dorn Mayhew World Headquarters in Troy, or at any of their offices across the country and around the world. They have a national specialized talent pool with ideal candidates for long-term placement, ongoing support for post-placement success. So if you're looking for that next chapter in your professional career, talk to Josh Garvey and the team at Baumgardner. Easiest way, you can call Baumgardner, ask for Josh Garvey, or go to their website, BEENEGARTR.com, or look for Baumgardner, soon to be Dorn Mayhew, on Facebook and on Twitter.
Save big on fuel with M-Perks. Earn points on your Meijer purchases in-store and online. Then use your points to claim a fuel reward and save up to $1 off per gallon of gas at Meijer. Claim your M-Perks fuel rewards in the Meijer app and ID at the pump to save. Plus, earn points for qualifying Meijer Express purchases and look for exclusive Meijer Express offers. Download the Meijer app to sign up or see Meijer.com to learn more. 10 cents to $1 off per gallon based on points earned. Exclusions apply. Not valid in Wisconsin. Max 30 gallons.
The Freddie the Pizza Man Foundation is dedicated to providing support to families and Michigan schools touched by autism. We invite you to join us in supporting these families and schools by making a donation at freddythepizzaman.com. With your donation, you can help provide essential resources that can make a real impact. Visit freddythepizzaman.com to make a donation and to learn more about the foundation's mission. That's FREDI thepizzaman.com. Together, we can make a difference.
You're listening to Michigan's statewide morning show, X's and Bros, right here on the Michigan Sports Network.
Welcome back here to X's and Bros, Michigan Sports Network. Great to have you riding along with us. Nick Baumgardner coming up in hour number 3 to discuss the Detroit Lions. NBA fans, the wait is over. Basketball is officially back. And DraftKings Sportsbook, official sports betting partner of the NBA, is celebrating with an unbeatable offer right now. New customers can score $200 in bonus bets instantly for throwing down just $5 on the association. Win or lose, it doesn't even matter. You start the season with an instant W. Who doesn't love that? Basketball is more fun when you're in on the action. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Use the promo code HUGE. Promo code HUGE. New customers get $200 in bonus bets instantly for betting just $5 only on DraftKings Sportsbook, only using the promo code HUGE. The crown is yours. Now, if you or somebody you know has a gambling problem, wants help, needs help, call the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services Gambling Disorder Helpline, 800-270-7117. 21 plus, Michigan only. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Eligibility and deposit restrictions to apply. See terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/basketball terms. All right, let's get into college football rankings. If you want to chime in, I think we missed a call there earlier. If you want to chime in on the Lions trade, feel free. We got a text here from Adam on YouTube. People don't realize that not all second-round picks are created equal in regards to Montez Sweat. Bears gave up a pick that's 33 to 35. Lions would have offered a pick 55 plus, hopefully in that 60 to 64 range. You're absolutely correct. You are absolutely correct. A Bears pick, a Panthers pick, like the draft order matters. It absolutely matters when you're looking at the value of the compensation. Pull out the old Jimmy Johnson draft chart and then find the equal here, and we'll go from there. Now, on to the college football top 25 rankings that came out. Ohio State came in at number 1, followed up by Georgia at number 2, Michigan at number 3, Florida State at 4, Washington at 5, Oregon at 6. Now, the way that it is described here from ESPN is, quote, Ohio State took the number 1 spot in the first college football playoff ranking released Tuesday night, while two-time defending national champion Georgia is right behind at number 2. Michigan, under NCAA investigation amid sign-stealing allegations, is number 3, while Florida State is 4, Washington is 5, so on and so forth. I am interested that they went immediately with Michigan under NCAA investigations amid sign-stealing allegations. That, to me, seems like kind of an unnecessary caveat to the story at this point, unless this writer, Andrea Adelson, believes that that is what moved Michigan to number 3 instead of 1 or 2. But it doesn't really necessarily matter now, does it? It's good fodder for us. We like to talk about things like this. It's always fun. We can argue about it, and everybody can get aggravated and yell at each other on the internet about whose team is better. Here's what I don't understand, however. Now, when discussing Michigan and Ohio State, you know how I am. Right? If you listen to this program, you know how I am. I'm not afraid to say that this team has been better than us for 2 decades. It doesn't bother me. I don't know why it bothers you. Just look at the records. It's not that serious. When I see some Michigan State covering media people that constantly harp on Michigan and Ohio State's record head-to-head, it's like it has nothing to do with you. But feel free. Comment all you want. I don't have any problem with OSU at 1. You want to know why? Because they're number 1 in the FPI. They're number 1 in strength of record. They're number 15 in strength of schedule. And they're number 10 right now in their remaining strength of schedule. That's great. Good for them. They could be number 1. They got the best win out of anybody, like in that top group. So I'm cool with that. Michigan at number 3 is fine. They have the number 1 remaining strength of schedule in the country. They're number 2 in FPI. They're number 9 in strength of record, and they're number 1 in game control. So I put that out there. I put a little Fizdale gift. Take that for data or data, depending on how you say it. Like, they're not – this poll, the College Football Playoff Committee has Michigan in right now. So there's no ban. We could take all that chatter and throw it right out the window. It doesn't even matter, right? Doesn't matter. It's out. They know it. We know it. Everybody knows it. These pictures that are circulating, is this Connor Stalions on the sideline at Central Michigan? How did he get there? If that's even him, I have no idea. They have a guy on their staff that looks just like Connor Stallions. McElwain's talking about it. They're trying to figure out who's on their sideline. How do you not know who's there? Gene chimed in, said strength of schedules. Yes. Yeah. I mean, okay. And I'm not arguing for Michigan to be number one. It doesn't bother me that they're number 3. The big whiffer says none of this matters until November 25th. Well, that's one way to look at it. But if you lose early, which I don't think that Michigan would do, but if for whatever reason you decided to take an L early on in this process, whether it's Purdue on Saturday, whether it's Penn State, whether it's Maryland, or it's Ohio State, that is going to drastically change things. Do I think they're going to lose to Purdue? Absolutely not. No way in hell do I think they're losing to Purdue. But if you want to go see them win, you can visit my Twitter page at AC Bellino and retweet the ticket giveaway for a pair of tickets. Must be 18 years of age and older, all the legal jargon, yada, 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 to enter to win. And I will send you the tickets via email if you are randomly selected. So that's cool. It's a night game, 7:30, NBC. Should be a lot of fun. Probably is going to be very cold. But then they'll go on the road to Penn State, on the road to Maryland, and host Ohio State. They have played a schedule that has included East Carolina, UNLV, Bowling Green, Rutgers, Nebraska, Minnesota, Indiana, and Michigan State. You got to play the schedule. You play who's on. I get it. I understand. I'm not complaining about it, but they haven't played anybody of substance. So both things can be true. You can play the schedule and you can dominate, and you can understand that they haven't played anybody that's really good, and everything can be fine. Everything can be fine. And you don't have to get bent out of shape and yell at me because I said Ohio State right now has better wins. Both teams are 5-0 in conference play. Both teams are 8-0 overall. Stop letting this hurt your feelings. It's really not that serious. They've got wins over a ranked number 9 Notre Dame team, albeit Notre Dame trotted 2 people out there in the final play, and that was a road game. And they have a win versus number 7 Penn State. They have 2 top 10 wins on the docket right now. They have Rutgers on the road, Michigan State at home, Minnesota at home, and then the big one on the road at Michigan. There is zero problem with saying that if they wanted to rank, the committee said Ohio State's the best team in the country, by all means. Would I have ranked Georgia there? Yes. Does the injury to Brock Bowers play an injury there? Yes. But they're still the 2-time defending champ going for a three-peat, first time in the poll era since 1930, whatever. Like, you have the belt. You haven't been beaten yet. So why would we not have you at number 1? I don't know. What this does set up for Ohio State is the ability to take a loss at the end of the season, just like they did last year, and still put them into the college football playoff. That's what it does. And we can argue about that all we'd like. But that's Ohio State at worst is 11-1. At best, they're 13-0 after the Big Ten championship game. That's where they fall. And the same goes for Michigan. I mean, I guess potentially, Penn State, I don't want to dog them too much. So at worst, 10-2. At best, 13-0. And we go from there. But it's the first ranking. I do find it relatively interesting, however, that this committee can't even be consistent in their thought process within the top 10 teams. And what I mean by that is simply this. How in God's green earth has this committee decided to put Texas in front of Oklahoma? How, Sway? How? Now, why does this matter? Texas has a win against Alabama. Okay, that's a really good win. That's one of the best wins of the season. Probably the best win of the season. Alabama was ranked number 3 at the time. They've got a win over a top 25 team in Kansas. But they lost to Oklahoma 34-30. Lost to Oklahoma. You can see it on your screen right now. If you're watching on YouTube, watch it on BCSN. You can see where everything shakes out. In the Red River Shootout, a.k.a. Red River Rivalry, a.k.a. Red River Showdown, whatever you want to call it, how played in Dallas, Texas, so quote-unquote neutral field. How was Oklahoma then ranked behind Texas if Oklahoma beat Texas by 4? Both teams are 7-1. Sure, Texas has a better victory in their win over Alabama. And Oklahoma, their best win is also against a third-ranked team in the country. Texas, who's ranked ahead of them? Just make it make sense. Okay, they lost to Kansas. So you're telling me, Mr. Committee guys, you're telling me that a better loss is better than an outright head-to-head win. That's where this stuff doesn't make sense. Does not make sense at all. Like Kansas is ranked number 21. So Oklahoma loses to a top 25 Kansas team by 5 on the road, beats Texas by 4 at a neutral site. Texas ranked number 3, the same ranking that Alabama had when Texas beat Alabama, number 3. And Oklahoma has the head-to-head win, and they're 2 spots behind Texas? Make it make sense. That's all I'm asking. Just make it make sense. This is why I will always have a problem with the way that we have operated in the poll era. I didn't like the BCS because I don't think that computer models are the best way to go about it. That's just me. I don't think that you could take you could take all the data and all the metrics and all you want to try to line up who the best teams are because you don't have a set criteria on how to do anything. You don't. For the longest time, when you introduced conference championship games, and not every Power 5 conference had a championship game. And then you needed that 13th data point. Remember that? And we're right back here having the same conversation I'm always having with this stuff. Just, we don't need in-season rankings. We do power rankings, sure. We do them in the NFL. That's great. It's for fun. They don't mean anything. You know what matters? The standings. Let's get to Freddie, who's on the line, wants to talk about the rankings. Freddie, good morning to you, my friend. How are you?
Good morning, Mr. AB. How are you, sir?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right.
You okay?
Hey, yeah, I'm all right. I could be better. I had to call my buddy, see how he's doing. Make me feel better today.
Who's that?
You.
Oh, wow, that's great. Well, let's have a really good day today. It's hump day.
Let's make today better than yesterday.
That's right.
What's that saying? Yeah. Yesterday, it's funny. Yesterday, that guy that was on the CMU sideline, I saw him in my pizzeria, but he was wearing a Domino shirt.
I believe it. Maybe he was delivering pizza to the press box, and it's great that a guy in a Domino shirt would come to Freddie the Pizza Man for pizza. It tells you everything you need to know.
Well, no. I mean, it's funny. A lot of pizzeria owners do come into my place, which I don't understand why. But anyways, no, he was wearing. I mean, he was trying to steal. He was trying to steal some stuff from me. I mean, I didn't appreciate. He had those Ray-Bans on. I saw the blue light. I'm like, what is going on here? So I just started changing some things up so he wouldn't figure it out.
That's smart of you. You would think that if there was some sort of pizza recipe stealing bandit that everybody knew about, that you would change up some things and hide some things. But or you could just blatantly give it and get beat. Like, you could do that too.
Well, now it explains how Michigan beat Michigan State 49-0. Because now I understand. He was on the sideline, well, allegedly, stealing Michigan State signs. So now I get why they beat Michigan State so bad. Otherwise, it would have been a close game.
They probably would have lost if he wasn't there. Let's be honest. Like, Michigan State probably would have beat Michigan by 40 had somebody not been on the sidelines at CMU. Like, I mean, it's just, I can't believe this is happening.
Well, my prediction would have been correct then. 35-33, Michigan would have squeaked out a win. So yeah, I got cheated. I don't appreciate that, but it's okay. It's all right. Next year. So real quick before I get to my AB top 5, this Lions thing. Okay, now I saw all the negativity yesterday about the no trades and this and that. I mean, sometimes you just have. Sometimes even me have to turn off talk radio and just turn on Andrea Bocelli. But okay, even it took me a long time to believe in Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes. But I'm going to give everyone an example. Okay, he wears number 13 for the Detroit Lions. His name is Craig Reynolds, correct? He goes by Netflix.
Yep.
Right? Okay.
Yep.
That's the type of player the Detroit Lions want. They want a guy that's got a chip on their shoulder, that's going to give you everything, and is going to put the team first. Okay? So far, they're winning. They really are. I'm the guy who will tell you they need stars. Stars ultimately wins the big one, right? So I'm the guy that tells you that. Those two guys, and you can include Spielman, I guess, obviously, but they want guys like that. They want a guy like St. Brown. He even does a commercial now about how he got snubbed and didn't get picked in the 4th round, right? So that's how they're going to win their games. They're going to run the ball. They're going to play tough defense with guys that give a blank. And how many times have they used that line? Give a blank, and that's what they want. And they don't want guys that don't care, because they're not going to win games that way. And if you watch Dan Campbell on ABC, which you might have not watched because you were at the game, when he cried about talking about those players, tells you everything you need to know what happened yesterday, why they didn't make any trades. And I get it, man. I really do. Now, I'll be disappointed if they don't win this year. But I think the division's locked and loaded, and we'll see what happens. Now, on the AB top 5, here's my top 5. Georgia has to be number 1. They haven't lost. They've won 2 years in a row. They have to be number 1. They just have to be. For me, I got Ohio State number 2. They got 2 top 10 wins. I have Washington and Oregon 3 and 4. You can put them wherever you want, because that was a great game. Either one could have won. Obviously, one did win. And give me Florida State. 1, 2, 3, 4. Give me Florida State at 5. That's exactly how I would have the top 5. That's my top 5. I think it's a good top 5. I think it's a fair top 5. And then you got Michigan 6 and Texas 7. I think it's a fair top 5. Don't you think?
I don't have any problem with that. I mean, you look at Florida State.
Yeah.
Florida State, you put them at 5. Could they actually get bumped up because they had a win against former number 5, LSU, to open up the season? They beat a top 25 team in Duke. Now, obviously, those teams are a little bit different now. They still have rivalry games against Miami at home and Florida on the road remaining on their schedule. They're going to whack Pitt and North Alabama. How that game's even on the schedule during Cupcake Week, I have no idea. But I have no problem with that whatsoever, because at the end of the day, Freddie, we're going to figure it out in 4 weeks. And all these people that are going crazy on the internet, they got to take a breath. I mean, they really do. If Brad Holmes didn't trade for Chase Young, and somehow Michigan came in at number 3, and people's heads are exploding like we're smashing pumpkins, we got to step aside. Hour 3 next. X's and Bros, Michigan Sports Network.
It's a happy Thanksgiving when you get everything you need in one stop at Meijer. Save big on fresh and frozen turkeys. And for all your favorite sides, Meijer's got you covered. Like fresh green beans, delicious pumpkin pies from our bakery, and your perfect pairing in our wine aisle. Get everything for easy prep, too. From crock pots to serveware and food storage. Find a great selection and all the same great deals whether you shop Meijer in-store or online. Make it a happy Thanksgiving in one easy stop at Meijer.
Ladies, let's go see some men. The show, Friday, November 17th at Soaring Eagle Casino. Come meet the men of your wicked dreams for an affordable night of laughs and maybe some mischief. Oh my. The boys are back in town. Tickets for 18 plus, just $25. On sale now at the box office and etix.com. Sexy costumes, hot dance moves. Your sensational night of fun returns. Hunks, the show, November 17th at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Oh my.
Huge here for my friends from Coppercraft Distillery. Now, they're a Michigan-based company, and they have a message for anybody 21 and up. You're going to want to get hooked up with this Honolulu Blue, a premium can cocktail. Vodka, blue raspberry lemonade. This special limited edition can cocktail is available at local stores, pubs, and restaurants. And when you're cheering on our favorite pro football team, TDs, tailgates, and more, make sure you grab a Honolulu Blue from Coppercraft Distillery.
The Freddie the Pizza Man Foundation is dedicated to providing support to families and Michigan schools touched by autism. We invite you to join us in supporting these families and schools by making a donation at freddythepizzaman.com. With your donation, you can help provide essential resources that can make a real impact. Visit freddythepizzaman.com to make a donation and to learn more about the foundation's mission. That's FREDI thepizzaman.com. Together, we can make a difference.
Roast Umber is a farm-direct coffee sourced from Central American farmers and roasted in Grand Rapids. And also the Nitro Cold Brew Coffee is a convenient and healthy option for energy with no sugar additives. Look for it at your local retailer or at roastumber.com.
Merck Perks from Mercantile Bank is here. Merck Perks checking has all you need to plan your busy lifestyle. Travel services for hotels, airfare, and cruises, cashback rewards, and even savings on prescriptions, eyewear, and dental work. Merck Perks also includes all the traditional benefits you love, like online and mobile banking, and fee-free access to almost 40,000 MoneyPass ATMs. So when you're ready for perks, Merck is here. Learn more at mymerckperks.com, member FDIC.
Coming up later today at 3, huge opinions on everything I want to talk about. It's the Huge Show at 3 on the Michigan Sports Network.
It's time for Michigan Sports Talk Morning Show, broadcasting live all across the state of Michigan and Northwest Ohio. This is X's and Bros.
Swings it out to Sadiq Bey. Gets Benny in the car. To Abdul-Rahman at midcourt. Extra pass. And it goes for the win. The three-pointer by Jordan Poole. Here's the give. Walker. Kenneth Walker. Touchdown. Smarty. Goff's got it. Back. Looks. Throws. Ends up. Yes. Caught. Touchdown to Clark. They did it. Amon-Ra St. Brown in the receiving end. Sends one to deep left center field. Back it goes, and that ball's out of here. A grand slam from Miguel Cabrera. He's got 2 goals. Larkin in on goal. Scores! His first career hat trick in his 7th season for Dylan Larkin.
Here's your host, Anthony Bellino.
Rise and shine, folks. Welcome back here, X's and Bros. Officer Berto working the streets right now. The poor guy. All right, so this is what happens. We were talking, the sign stealing thing came up, so he sent me a message. And he said, it's him. And I said, what a scandal, what a story. Can't wait for Michigan to throw Harbaugh $90 million, right? And he said, seriously, Michigan had a great team. Why do they even need to be stealing signs? Back to a great reference that I had a few weeks ago that I'd like to bring back up here to the program. Do you think the great warrior Genghis Khan was riding around Asia dropping off gift baskets? Is that what you believe that was happening? Do you think when the Germanic tribes were taking on the Romans that the Romans didn't go out there and scout a little bit? And so they're called, scouts. They sent scouts out to take a look, see what the enemy had going on. Genghis Khan, who's one of his great quotes of all time, I'm paraphrasing here because I don't remember the exact verbiage, was something along the lines of, conquering the world by horseback is the easy part. It's dismounting and governing that is difficult. Pretty powerful stuff. So I used a more present-day term, recon work. We need to go and send a team, typically a small unit, out to observe and perform reconnaissance. What does the enemy look like? Where are they at? What do they have? What are their numbers? What are they equipped with? These are all things that we need to know. Where are their supply chains? How can we affect that? These are all things being done modern day right now. Modern day right now. Today, Gaza is without internet. Without internet. Why does that matter? How are people going to communicate? What happens to us if we lose a cell phone tower? If our phone shut off and our internet died right now, would I still be able to do the show? Without question. That's called preparation. It's called doing recon work. Scouting the news and the stories and the headlines of the day. Sun Tzu once said in the book The Art of War, know the enemy better than you know yourself. Officer Berto said, we're comparing war to college football now. I asked him if he could read. He should read the book. It's a quick read. Like, you'd think The Art of War would be like 800 pages. It's not. It's like 100 or less. And now I said, here's the phone number, Officer Berto. Call us, you coward. And you know what he said? He said, I'm listening to a podcast of Urban coming to East Lansing, which I know is a lie. I know you're listening, because how would you be listening to a podcast but know exactly when to chime in on this program right here? You are trying to deceive me. Another tactic used not only on the battlefield but on the football field as well. Deception. Hours and hours and hours of film study go in every single week. Every single week. The 2013 rule that was amended doesn't say that you can't use a third-party scouting service. Dave Portnoy going to Ohio State and Wisconsin and filming the sidelines, I think, is an epic troll. It's hilarious. And see, he has given himself away. The enemy has given himself away. He said, LMAO. He's not listening to any podcast about Urban Meyer talking about raising the flag. What flag were you thinking about raising, Officer Berto? Were you thinking about raising the Toledo Rockets flag after a big victory in the Glass Bowl, which turned into a snow bowl? Is that what you were thinking about? It could have been. Candles Crew. Let's go, baby. Are you serious? Beating up on the Buffalo Bulls. You love to see it. Love to see it. That's what I want to know. That's all I want to know. And yes, I'm going to compare it. They're not apples and oranges necessarily. There are a lot of teams in athletics will use different military trainings and speakers to come in because of what you need, the team element that exists there for those that are performing the most dangerous jobs at all times, all throughout the world, right now as we speak. They are going to rely on physical training and teamwork in order to get their job done, whatever their job may be. Some of their jobs might be to go scout the opponent. Who is the enemy? Find them. Know everything about them. Everything about them. Obsess over them. That's one thing. Like, look, I know that Urban Meyer catches some flack on the show because, look, personally speaking, I don't say this out of fear of Urban Meyer to East Lansing. I just don't know if I'm a Michigan State fan, if I want a coach who has had his career marred by some scandal entering my university that is currently being marred by scandal. That's all. And I'm not comparing Michigan to Michigan State. Like, Michigan State stuff is like off the field. Michigan stuff is technically off the field, and by rule off the field as well, which if you're not on the actual playing field and you are up in the stands, then you wouldn't be in the parameters of the playing area as described by the NCAA. So, hey, look, you guys can fight that out all you want. I've said what I needed to say. It got people tweeting to get me fired. I'll say it again. If they found the loophole, right, just like the tax loophole example I gave you, they found the loophole and they used it to their advantage, sorry. If it is determined to be cheating by the NCAA, the Big Ten, and their constituents, our great leadership here in college athletics, then we're cooked. And that's what it is. If this is a rogue employee, like I cannot imagine. Okay, so let's say the picture that's floating around right now at Central Michigan, right? There's a guy on the sidelines who might kind of look like Connor Stallions. There's no way Jim Harbaugh and the staff signed off on that. There's just no way. They at the end of the day, you want to know and you want to scout and you have all the information available on your opponent. You are not going to do that to the game itself. Right? You're just not going to do that. Jim Harbaugh is not going to do that. If he did do that, I would be shocked and I would feel very deceived. That would be like similar to, your girlfriend running around on you. That's where I'd be. I'd be in that emotional state right there. I just don't believe it. I don't think I'm in denial. And I know that's not just a river in Egypt either. I think I've been very upfront and honest about all of it. Exactly how I feel about it. If it is actually determined to be cheating, what is the difference between that, going out on the golf course, hitting a par 5, building a snowman out there, right? You take a triple. That's an 8 for those that don't know the golf jargon. You build your snowman, you say you made a 4. That's cheating. That's what that is. That is illegal. Like, yeah. LMAO. Why has not one person come out and said, hey, that was me? Why does Central have no idea who it is? I have no idea who it is either. I know that they have a guy on staff that looks similar at Central Michigan. There was a picture floating around like, this guy is on their staff. He's in the team photo. Maybe it's him. Maybe it's not. This is the Where's Waldo of college football right now. Where is Captain Stallions right now? That's what I want to know. Connor Stallions, United States Marine Corps, recon specialist. Aye, Captain. We'll step aside. More X's and Bros after this. Michigan Sports Network.
It's time to go in the huddle 1, 2, 3, top flight!
It's a new day to celebrate and be free. It's a new day full of action and excitement because it's a new day for winning only at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. It's a new day. Visit SoaringEagleCasino.com. A long bye week for the Michigan Wolverines finally comes to a close this Saturday. A week that should have been discussions over the 8-0 start, the defense that's absolutely suffocating opponents, J.J. McCarthy and a now potential Heisman run. But instead it was marred by controversy and Michigan being in the crosshairs of another potential NCAA investigation. The only thing the Wolverines can do, from their players to their coaches to everyone in between, is focus on the task currently at hand, the Purdue Boilermakers this weekend. Because at the end of the day, just keep winning and let the chips fall where they may. 4 weeks left, 2 at home, 2 on the road for the second half of the season. A second half that is for all the marbles. And that all starts with their second night game of the season this Saturday at 7:30 under the lights at the Big House against Purdue on NBC.
Imagine this, a day filled with indulgence, bursting with excitement, and packed with extraordinary moments that build memories to last a lifetime. A day that is unmistakably yours, at the place that is undeniably spectacular. Whether you're winning big, dining lavishly, or relaxing oh so comfortably, it's your getaway reimagined at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort.
They say consistency is the key to success. They weren't wrong. So how about grabbing a beer that's consistently smooth, consistently refreshing, and consistently light? You might just find that the road to success can be pretty enjoyable. Michelob Ultra, the perfect balance of taste and refreshment, and only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
X's and Bros on the Michigan Sports Network.
Welcome back here to X's and Bros, Michigan Sports Network. Great to have you ride along with us. No matter who you are, where you are, how you may be listening, from Traverse City down to the Glass City, GR to the Motor City. We say good morning to you. We welcome you. We thank you. We appreciate you. And, of course, we encourage you. Join the program at any time. Text the keyword Sports Radio. Send that to 21,000. Call us on the Meyer Supercenter guest line, 866-838-4843. Reminder, Tullymore Golf Resort, not just golf, folks, but the perfect space for your wedding, event, reception, group outing. You could stay right there on the grounds. You don't have to play golf. I know they had the temperature. The deal of the century was you pay what the temperature was when you teed off. Like, that's incredible. You mean to tell me you could play Tullymore for like $40? How low can you go? That's what I want to know. It's all at Tullymore Golf. TullymoreGolf.com. TullymoreGolf.com. 1-800-972-4837. All of you folks, and Ryan hops into on our Twitter page and says, this is what Ryan says. Did the Lions do enough at the deadline to compete with the top teams in the NFC? Talking point one. Talking point two, Anthony will stop talking about Michigan. And in parentheses, doubt it. All of you people, you, Freddie, Officer Berto, that random guy, Steve, you guys are driving me to a point that I didn't think I was going to get to with this story. But if you mean to tell me that all of this was devised in some grand scheme, some grand plan, if you're going to make me dig in and love it, I'll love it. I'll love the fact that the leaders and the best went out there with the greatest plan ever to take your bleep and beat the hell out of you with it. And that's what it took. And that's what happened. Now you're making me go crazy. Now I'm jumping over the other side of the fence, and I'm not worried about being fair and honest and balanced. Now all I'm concerned about is the fact that, yeah, we're kicking your bleep all over the place. 20 straight dubs in the Big Ten. And I love my guy, Jason Candle, head coach of the Rockets. Big dub last night. TOL! My guy, Coach Candle, gave the playbook, welcomed in two reporters, and said, you want to see the playbook? Come on into my office. They sat down and they wrote an article about it. Read it. It's in the Toledo Blade. Dave Briggs, great scribe. Kyle Rowland, good friend. Great, both of them. Great scribes. Can't wait to see them soon. These guys sat in the coach's office and said, I'm not concerned if you know what our plays are. You still got to stop it. Deion Sanders, a.k.a. Coach Prime, said, sure. All right. Signal stealing, different baseball, hitting a curveball. If I know curve is coming, I got the beat on you. But football, the physicality, and people want to deny that. You know what? Now I'm hearing from multiple coaches, you still got to stop it. And now I'm hearing this crying and complaining. But Coach Prime, he's out there in the Big 12, and Coach Candle, he's in the MAC. And I'm wondering who's doing all this crying in the Big 10. Well, you need some tissues? You got issues? Here's some tissues, baby. Don't hate us because you ain't us. Let's get to Scott in GR on the phone line right now, the Meyer Supercenter guest line. You can join us too, 866-838-4843. You people did this to me. I didn't choose this. You did it to me. Good morning, Scott. How are you?
Hey, buddy. Again, you know I'm a Sparty, but I'm going to be on your side in a minute, but we'll get to that in a second. First of all, I listened to Brad Holmes, and
of that guy.
He said, incredible. And he was very specific. He said we had a body missing in our wide receiver room, and we took care of it. Perfect, bingo. I don't think it's going to take anything away from opportunities from JMO. I just think that we solidified our wide receiver. JMO's going to be JMO. He's going to show in the next 9 games if he is going to be viable or he's just going to be somebody that we we missed. If we missed, we missed. People miss. Man, but Brad Holmes doesn't miss too often. And then the second thing, the people going after the not picking up another pass rusher. One, we have a pass rusher who's coming back, a darn good one that we got in the late rounds. Now I'm hearing he's coming back in December. I'm hearing that he's doing his progress is, if you're reading about it, and I know you do. I know you know the pulse of the network there, but Houston looks like he's on a steady path back, and we're already. You look at PFF, you look at NFL.com, and many of the rankings. We're anywhere between 6th and 8th on defensive line. What does Chase Young do for us? Does he move us to 1st? If he moves us to 1st, then we missed. But I don't think he moves us to 1st. So please, people, chillax.
Chillax.
Just chillax. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, James Houston, who fractured his ankle in week 2. Dan Campbell talking about it. Like, this is why they have IR. You could place a guy on IR. You can elevate somebody else up to the roster. Like, Aaron Rodgers out there throwing. Like, if he can come back in December, late portion of the season, and all he's got to do is rush the passer, and I love it. And if the Okwara brothers if they're going to come in and make an impact, then great.
If we get James back, plus the kid that we got in the 4th round this year, he's ready to go. Then you get what did CJ change his name to? Crap, I can't even remember now.
Ceedy.
Huh?
Ceedy. Ceedy, I think.
I'm gonna love seeing that jersey. If we get him back for the playoffs and he's ready, we're good. We're good. You look at the schedules and you look at Philly has a gauntlet to go through. Oh my God. There's next 6 weeks. If they go 3-3, they'll be doing tremendous. They got Dallas twice. They got San Francisco. They got Buffalo. They got Kansas City, and they got Seattle in a row. Holy moly. That kind of schedule is like.
And their offense has been struggling.
Coach, I'd be like, and they're not playing that well. That's right. And then San Francisco's got kind of the same thing. They have 5 games against the probably 10, 12 best teams in the NFL. So we're okay.
Everything's fine.
If we get the number 1 seed, we have 4 games. Honestly, we have 4 games. You could throw the Chicago game in there at Chicago because it's going to be cold and wet, and you never know what happens. But you got LA, you got at New Orleans, and you got at Dallas, and you got at Minnesota. And of those 4 games, okay, we dropped 2. So what? Everything else is at home, and they're against teams, and we've proven that we can play bad and beat it. We can play bad and beat a bad team.
Scott,
yes, sir,
that you have to win every game on the schedule. You have to do so in a way where Jared Goff has to throw for 400 yards and 12 touchdowns every game. The defense has to have a shutout, and Aiden Hutchinson has to have 10 sacks a game. If the numbers don't come out like you're playing Madden on rookie, then people lose their minds. They lose their minds.
Let me get to Michigan real quick before you hit the break.
Leaders in the best.
Yes, I can say this. Out of 10 teams, there's 10 teams, and this is why I wish it was a 12-team playoff this year. But there are 10 teams that can Texas beat anybody on a given day? Yes. What are they ranked? Like 7th? Can Notre Dame possibly beat anybody on a given day? What are they ranked? 10th? If Notre Dame plays Georgia today on a neutral field, what's the spread? 6, 7? Normally that'd be a 15, 14, 13 point spread in a champion in the playoffs, and it's up for grabs. And I think Michigan has one of the most balanced teams going into this. Hey, win your national championship. Harbaugh, with all this BS, I hate to say it because I think I do and I don't because I'm a Sparty guy, but I would say that he's the Las Vegas Raiders coach next year, and
who's the Raiders coach?
Harbaugh.
Yeah, that's it. We're going to break. Nick Baumgardner joins us next. X's and Bros, Michigan Sports Network.
Bill Simonson here for my good friend Josh Garvey. Now, he is a managing shareholder at Baumgardner, soon to be Doran Mayhew at the end of the year. And with the merger, there is growth and a chance for you to fill an executive or other high-level finance-related roles. either at Baumgardner here in downtown Grand Rapids or over at the Dorn Mayhew World Headquarters in Troy, or at any of their offices across the country and around the world. They have a national specialized talent pool with ideal candidates for long-term placement, ongoing support for post-placement success. So if you're looking for that next chapter in your professional career, talk to Josh Garvey and the team at Baumgardner. Easiest way, you can call Baumgardner, ask for Josh Garvey, or go to their website, BEENEGARTR.com, or look for Baumgardner, soon to be Dorn Mayhew, on Facebook and on Twitter.
Save big on fuel with M-Perks. Earn points on your Meijer purchases in-store and online. Then use your points to claim a fuel reward and save up to $1 off per gallon of gas at Meijer. Claim your M-Perks fuel rewards in the Meijer app and ID at the pump to save. Plus, earn points for qualifying Meijer Express purchases and look for exclusive Meijer Express offers. Download the Meijer app to sign up or see Meijer.com to learn more. 10 cents to $1 off per gallon based on points earned. Exclusions apply. Not valid in Wisconsin. Max 30 gallons.
Van Andel Institute Purple Community is a grassroots fundraising network powered by the dedicated volunteers who support VAI's mission to improve human health now and in the future. When you raise funds through the Van Andel Institute Purple Community, 100% of the proceeds go directly to the Institute's research into diseases like cancer and Parkinson's, as well as VAI's science education programs. Learn how you can get involved at purplecommunity.org.
Welcome back here to X's and Bros on the Michigan Sports Network on the first of the month, November 1st, 2023. That's Ben and Ryan. I'm Anthony. Join us on the horn right now covering the Detroit Lions for The Athletic. Our good buddy, Nick Baumgardner. Nick, my man, good morning to you. Happy Wednesday. How are you? How's life? How are things, partner?
Good, Anthony. How are you? Happy winter, by the way. It's I think fall's over. We got snow out here today, so
yeah,
good there, I guess.
Yeah, that ended abruptly, didn't it? It was like, oh, okay.
It
like,
really
hey.
did. It's like, hey, Halloween happened, and goodbye. That's enough of that. So, yeah, on we go.
The poor kids. You know, what about the kids? We do it for the
It
kids.
was a little cold, but we got it in last night. It was okay. We got through it.
That's good. Yeah, as long as mom and dad made it through, the parents, with their thermoses full of God knows what in there, good for you. Walk around the neighborhoods, have a cocktail, and enjoy the experience, enjoy the time while they're little. Because once they grow up, time flies when you're having fun.
Right. Yes, correct. Yes,
exactly.
Right.
Yeah. The trade deadline that flew right by too. It's like all this buildup, all this hype, and let's get to first what the Lions didn't do that all Lions fans and a lot of analysts were convinced that they would do, and that would be to try to add one of those available edge rushers or pieces to the defense to help out Aiden Hutchinson and company. Were you shocked or surprised that they didn't go after a Montez Sweat, that they didn't, get Chase Young? I can't say go after because I don't know the phone calls that did or did not take place, but were you surprised that they didn't secure one of those guys?
No, not really surprised that didn't happen. If I was surprised at anything, it was that they didn't try to get a corner I would say, like you said, that they didn't land a corner, because I think corner would have been the spot actually, maybe even more than edge, that I was curious to see if they would address. The edge situation is a little interesting because I think there's a few things at play there, and I could be off base, but you've got a lot of young guys on the roster right now who, including, Aiden, of course, but there's other guys too at other positions who are going to need big contracts here soon, but, not that long off. If you bring in, Chase Young or something and immediately have to sign him to another deal and somebody's looking at him like, what are we doing all of a sudden? I don't know if that was something that they weighed or not. That's something that I've wondered about when they talk about chemistry in the locker room and everything else. If you bring in another high salary guy, what does that do to everybody else who has to get paid? I have no idea. But wasn't shocked. I thought it's certainly something that they could have done if they thought the price was right, which they clearly didn't. I do think though that corner is still something that, I think that they're going to need help at. And that's maybe one, if they look back at and say, we should have done something there, maybe it would have been corner.
No, and I heard a quote the other day. I'm trying to figure out who I should attribute this to because his name is slipping my mind. And he said, the most dangerous player that the Lions could have had is Brad Holmes with a draft card in his hand. And I thought about that a lot. And it was said yesterday. Now I can't remember who the hell said it. And it's really bothering me.
Right.
But you look at the way that Jahmyr Gibbs, Jack Campbell getting the start, against the Raiders. Sam Laporta, obviously, what he's been able to do. And Brian Branch, if he doesn't miss time, I think is definitely keeps the consistency rolling there from the early games in the season. Probably still in that conversation for Defensive Rookie of the Year. Those four guys, I mean, they're leaning a lot on their youth of this past draft class and the draft class before that. And so I think when we look at the trade deadline, how do you go about where this team is at from the perception of their window being open? Go for it this year right now versus trying to evaluate, hey, not sacrificing the future, because we see with all the young talent that has been able to come in and be productive and be contributing members, that's the route. The long-term success is what we're really chasing here.
Yeah, it's such a great question and a great point, because that's really what this is, I think. It's still you're at, I get a lot of people that tell me, well, look at what the Eagles and the Chiefs and the 49ers are doing. And I say, well, that's great. And I know that Dan Campbell, I think, said the same thing, like, good for them. And I think that, it's not fair in some ways to compare the Lions to the Chiefs or the Eagles or the 49ers or really any established team that has, veteran stars that have been around for a long time, or a team that's been to a Super Bowl, right, or won a Super Bowl in two of those cases. We can't compare those situations. And so when you see the 49ers go out and grab Chase Young and say, whatever, we'll take a shot at it. It doesn't work, who cares? Like the Lions are not in a situation yet with the age of their roster or the prove it, basically the evidence really of their roster being what we think that a lot of these guys will be. They're not there to just go and take a shot at somebody and say, well, it doesn't work, whatever. There is no whatever here yet. It's still pretty delicate. And I think that that's the thing that Dan Campbell really stands up to protect a lot. And I think, Anthony, you said, I don't know who said that. That's a good quote, because I think with the edge conversation with Holmes, I do think he would rather draft another one. And we'll see, and I've said this before and he doesn't, but, I do think he would rather, you've got Aiden Hutchinson, who you're probably going to max out. You love him. That's an A+ draft pick. We'll see about James Houston, but I also wonder if he's like, let me go find another guy and let's put him on rookie contract and do it that way. And instead of paying somebody that we didn't grow here. And so I think that in those high money positions like that's probably where this is still going to be driven by.
Now, Nick, you've kind of referred to this in a couple of different manners already, so I want to go there next. When you bring in a guy via the trade deadline, locker room means a lot, and you can tell that it means a lot to this front office. It means a lot to this coaching staff, and I just don't feel like they're willing to disrupt the chemistry that they have with their guys. I don't really know how to formulate the question out of this. So basically, just like a blanket statement, they're not going to risk it.
Well, right, and I think that the great point, or the biggest point to bring up, it's like it's not an indictment on someone like Montez Sweat or even Chase Young. I mean, these guys are, I've never heard anything bad about Chase Young. He's probably a great dude. I don't know, but it's this, it's this situation of, like we just said, it's you have a balance and a really delicate chemistry and everything in there with a bunch of guys that were there in August, that were there in July, whatever, that did all this together. And frankly, if you took a poll in some of those position rooms, like in the edge room, I don't know if they would tell you we need help. I think we need to play better would be maybe some of the answers you'd hear there. And I think that that's fair in some cases. Corner might tell you we need help, but that's a different conversation. But I do think that that's the ultimate thing that you're weighing. If you're going to bring in a high-priced guy, high-money guy, he could be a high character, whatever, but it's like he wasn't there at the beginning, and who knows? And you don't want to risk it is probably the best term. And I think that I hear a lot of that, at some point you do have to risk it. True, they're in year 3. They're ahead of schedule. And I think everyone needs to remember that in times like this. They're ahead of schedule by quite a bit, I think, at this point, and doesn't look like that's going to change anytime soon.
Fan is short for fanatical, and the folks, the Honolulu Blue and Silver, the excitement is through the roof. I get it. I understand. I thought Dan Campbell's quote about, turning it over multiple times and, being down in the turnover margin and still winning by 2 possessions. What does that tell you, about the game or about your team or whatever? And he says, it tells you I don't want to do that again. That's what it tells me. Like, let's not do that again. But then I look at the offensive line. Right, and Panay and Taylor are both out there at the tackle position, and then the interior, guard to guard, everywhere in between. I mean, talk about hodgepodge. Who is available? Who's got 2 legs and 2 arms that can block for us right now? And a guy that was selected as the 18th selection in the 5th round, Colby Sorsdale out of William and Mary, folks. That's where they found this guy. Right. They bring him in, and he makes Baldy's breakdowns. Brian Baldinger, who's always doing the offensive line film review. Like they are this group is more than capable of finding and acquiring the talented pieces that they need.
Absolutely. I think it depends on the position in some cases, but like in a lot of these spots, I think there's a lot of evidence. And Baldy's probably biased. I think he loved Sorsdahl coming out of college, so that's probably his guy that he's touting. But yes, he's right, because like this is a kid who could play. He's a guard tackle. He can play multiple spots. And he was one that was very lightly scouted. Not a lot of people knew about him. Even us here, we didn't know a whole lot about him. He was really low on our boards and everything else. But the more you look at him, you're like, wow, okay. And then he got into camp and started hitting. And after the first week, I kept telling everybody, I was like, this guy had a chance to be okay. He's never been overwhelmed. There was never a situation where he was like getting ragdolled or thrown around or just missing assignments. He just kept kind of going. I think he's going to be fine. I don't know if he's a long-term anything or a starter right away or whatever, but like that's the type of guy that you can depend on. And I think he was, pass pro in your first game against a hard charge in front. He gave up some pressures and that's whatever, but no sacks. And I thought he run blocked pretty well. So, but yes, in general, I think that's what caught them. And that's why he had 26 points. They got stuck a few times, but yeah, again, the draft picks in a lot of these cases, not everyone, it's not 1,000%, but a lot of these guys that get questioned on draft night, more often than not, they end up being better than people say at the time.
The Lions do make a trade. They acquire Donovan Peoples-Jones, the Detroit native and former Michigan Wolverine stud, will now join the Honolulu Blue and Silver. Losing Marvin Jones, you have Antoine Green out there. They needed another body at wide receiver. This one to me makes more sense. And I feel like I might be like in the minority of the crowd when it comes to this, but because J-Mo has shown us more potential than production, Amon-Ra continues to be the captain of consistency. Khalif Raymond's done a great job, and Josh Reynolds, very uncharacteristic fumble on Monday Night Football. But outside of that, it's not a bad four. Antoine Green, the rookie, being your fifth. Somebody else with some professional experience is probably going to help the room out a little bit, I think, and it's relatively inexpensive. If he plays really well, they should be able to get an extension or a long-term deal done with him that shouldn't cost them a whole lot because you get a little hometown discount.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think the reaction that I saw from a lot of people was more like disappointed that they didn't add a corner to, like that was it. Like it was just Donovan and not something else. Because I think most people were like, okay, well, I'm willing to see what happens with Peoples-Jones. I'm curious on this and very curious because when they talk about fits and everything else, Donovan is a guy that was he was a terrific athlete coming out of Michigan, as we know. But he was a 6th-round pick for a few reasons. He was not a polished prospect, did not have terrific ball skills, was not really what we see from Michigan blockers today. Donovan was not that type of run blocker. There were a lot of questions in terms of durability and dependability and all this. And I think some of that still lingered in Cleveland, and that's part of the reason why they traded him. But again, he's still 24. He's very, very young. And he's athletically, you're not going to find an athlete with more, he's probably the best complete profile athlete at wide receiver in the NFL. When you talk about his jump numbers, his sprint numbers, everything else, there's no one that can sort of match what he does. So it's like, you put him in there, put him in the soup and say, let's see if St. Brown and Raymond and Reynolds rubs off on this guy. And then, like you said, maybe you have a terrific ad down the road. And right now, I think he can help, if nothing else. Khalif Raymond gets overworked, I think, as a slot/punt returner. Peoples-Jones is a punt returner. He can punt return. So I think that right there, he's a guy who can help you in some capacity right off the shoot in a place that you didn't have, plus the injury that we saw over the weekend. So, low risk on that one. 6th-round pick for a guy that's probably athletically, has a trace of a 1st-rounder.
Now, on to Monday night's game. The Lions win 26-14. Without the pick six, it's 26-7. And then me doing my crazy math where instead of settling for field goals, we actually get into the end zone.
Yeah.
I predicted 45-6 as a final score. I feel really good about that's what should have been the final score. I am a wizard. I'd give myself all the credit there.
Right.
But no, this team stalling out on the plus side of the field was a little bit concerning for me. Some of the play calls, some of the, the shot that J-Mo take, I think it was Jameson Williams, his helmet popped off on the shovel pass. Like that hurt. It hurt me to watch. I didn't understand why we didn't just line up and do what we do best. I felt like we tried to get a little bit too cute. That concerns me a little bit. Is this a long-term worry or is this just me sweating because it was Monday night?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess we'll have to see because it's still one of these things where, we got to remind ourselves with Ben Johnson that there's not 10 years of data here. There's only a short, amount. But I do think, the Ravens game was the first time he really got it put on. That was the first time that he really didn't have an answer for something that someone was doing to him since he's been a coordinator, right? That was his worst day, we'll say, everyone's worst day, really, but him included. And I think that the whole team sort of reacts like this. When they have a poor performance, they come pretty hard charging. And I think that sometimes that's really good, and sometimes that results in, you overwhelm someone and you just, whatever mistakes happen don't matter. But sometimes that results in, sloppy, not very clean football, and maybe you're pressing a little bit too much. And I do wonder if, what, the receiver pass in the red zone that everybody was mad about. Why did you call it? Well, first of all, it was open. So, I mean, if St. Brown threw the ball, it would have been touchdown. But, why try that and not do something different? I get that. That's maybe pressing a little bit to try to answer what you did last week. I don't know if that was – I do wonder if that was part of the reason. But I think the bigger part of the reason is the line was just not dependable the way that it normally is, which is going to limit their call sheet quite a bit. And I think it's going to change the way that they plan for games. So I wouldn't be long-term worried about it. But, I mean, yeah, I guess we'll see if anything like that creeps up again here.
Now, Jahmyr Gibbs had 189 yards from scrimmage, which he outgained the Raiders all by himself. Gibbs' development, maybe he listened to Austin Eckler's breakdown of why David Montgomery was getting a bulk of the carries early on. And with Monty being out, they have to lean on him, and Craig kind of being that change of pace back a little bit, a little stronger between the tackles. But Gibbs, I thought, I mean, you think about everything Austin Eckler said about patience and pad level and squaring up and reading the zone and then jump cutting. It looked like he just regurgitated all that onto the football field Monday night. He was sensational. That's why they chose him at number 12.
100%. I mean, I was waiting for them to really start to trust him in these gap situations, and they did it a little bit earlier in the year in the Atlanta game, and this was the second time that they really, I guess last week too, against Baltimore because they had no choice. But it's they love to run these downhill between the tackle, the gap runs that we know, power counter, all that stuff. And Montgomery's terrific at that, and he has been his whole career. Jamal Williams was great at that too. The one thing they didn't like about DeAndre Swift is that he's not consistent with those runs between the tackles. And part of the reason why I thought that they drafted Gibbs is that he's an outside zone guy who can burn people on the corner, but he's also a really good between the tackles runner if you give him a chance. He's not huge, of course. You sort of have to limit and pick your chances. Maybe I wouldn't give him, 15 of those every game, but he can really do something for you, especially in the second half when people get tired, as we saw in the third, fourth quarter, where people get tired and worn out. He is a home run hitter who can do it from up the middle. And it was cool to see that finally happen. I wonder if the coaching staff needed to see it, right? Because I'm looking at it right here, he had 102 after contact out of his 152 rushing yards. So, that's all between the tackles. That was all tough yards that everybody else gets, and he gets it in different ways because he's so fast and so explosive. But that was cool to see. I'd like to see them do more of that in the second half of the season here.
His name is Nick Baumgardner. You can find him on Twitter at Nick Baumgardner. And if you thought his book, Mountaintop, was awesome, wait until you see his next New York Times bestseller on the Michigan international espionage scandal that is taking place. It is going to be electric.
Absolutely not.
Nick, my man, I appreciate the time this morning. Thank you so much, my friend.
Anytime, man. We'll talk to you.
All right, there he goes. That's Nick Baumgardner. That is all for us today. A reminder, folks, DraftKings Sportsbook, basketball is back. And guess who's returning to the slice tonight? The Pistons are going to be in action against the Portland Trailblazers. You can get on the action with the DraftKings Sportsbook, official sports betting partner of the association. And they're celebrating unbeatable offers right now. New customers can score $200 in bonus bets instantly for throwing just $5 in on the NBA. Tonight's a great night to do it. 7 o'clock tip-off. The Blazers and the Pistons. It's going to be electric. Win or lose, it doesn't matter with DraftKings. That first $5 wager is good for $200 in bonus bets. Basketball is more fun when you are in on the action. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Use the promo code HUGE. Promo code HUGE. New customers can get $200 in bonus bets instantly for betting just $5 only on DraftKings Sportsbook. Only using the promo code HUGE. The crown is yours. Now, if you or somebody knows a gambling problem, wants help, needs help, call the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services Gambling Disorder Helpline. 800-270-7117. 21 plus Michigan only. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Eligibility and deposit restrictions to apply. See terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/basketball terms. The return of Jeremy Grant and Chauncey Billups to the Detroit Pistons. The 2-2 Pistons, the 1-3 Blazers tonight, 7 o'clock. Stones are 4-point favorites. Enjoy the game. We'll have the recap of it tomorrow. Same time, same place. X's and Bros, Michigan Sports Network.
Huge for the Michigan High School Athletic Association. You can stay up to date on the latest from Lansing 24/7 at MHSAA.com. At MHSAA on Twitter and MHSAA on Facebook. The latest news, press releases, and stories connected to every high school in the state of Michigan, available for you 24/7 from the Michigan High School Athletic Association. Log on to MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. And if you're looking for archive, boys and girls, high school sports, MHSAA.TV. That's MHSAA.TV. 24/7, everything you need to know about high school sports in Michigan. Log on to MHSAA.com.
It's a happy Thanksgiving when you get everything you need in one stop at Meijer. Save big on fresh and frozen turkeys. And for all your favorite sides, Meijer's got you covered. Like fresh green beans, delicious pumpkin pies from our bakery, and your perfect pairing in our wine aisle. Get everything for easy prep, too. From crock pots to serveware and food storage. Find a great selection and all the same great deals whether you shop Meijer in-store or online. Make it a happy Thanksgiving in one easy stop at Meijer.
Roast Umber is a farm-direct coffee sourced from Central American farmers and roasted in Grand Rapids. And also the Nitro Cold Brew Coffee is a convenient and healthy option for energy with no sugar additives. Look for it at your local retailer or at roastumber.com.
Ladies, let's go see some men. The show, Friday, November 17th at Soaring Eagle Casino. Come meet the men of your wicked dreams for an affordable night of laughs and maybe some mischief. Oh my. The boys are back in town. Tickets for 18 plus, just $25. On sale now at the box office and etix.com. Sexy costumes, hot dance moves. Your sensational night of fun returns. Hunks, the show, November 17th at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Oh my.
Merck Perks from Mercantile Bank is here. Merck Perks checking has all you need to plan your busy lifestyle. Travel services for hotels, airfare, and cruises, cash back rewards, and even savings on prescriptions, eyewear, and dental work. Merck Perks also includes all the traditional benefits you love, like online and mobile banking, and fee-free access to almost 40,000 MoneyPass ATMs. So when you're ready for perks, Merck is here. Learn more at mymerckperks.com, member FDIC.
Coming up later today at 3, huge opinions on everything I want to talk about. It's the Huge Show at 3 on the Michigan Sports Network.